everybody. Welcome back to Crime Weekly. I'm Stephanie Harlow.
And I'm Derek Levasseur.
So today we are diving into part 2 of the Harmony Montgomery case.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you're going to get pissed off, Derek.
More than I got last episode?
Even more.
Because my day was ruined last episode.
Yeah, well, consider your day ruined.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it.
But once again, very important that we talk about this, especially given the new developments with Adam's conviction being overturned.
That's the craziest part. I keep reminding myself that the reason we're covering it right now is because this asshole's getting another trial because of a technicality. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, with a new trial coming up, it's like we all should know the details and the specifics before this new trial pops up. So I'm going to give a quick recap, and I apologize to anybody if my voice sounds weird or scratchy or more vocal fry-y than usual. Derek called me yesterday, and I was like, hello, and he was like, you sound terrible. Yes. The allergies have been getting me so hardcore that I would say all month, all in the entire month of June, because we are filming this on June 29th. I have not had any reprieve, except for when I was in Vegas, by the way.
Because you love Vegas.
And then I got a sinus infection in Vegas, so I don't know what's going on.
Your immune system needs to be studied.
No, it's just changes, man. Going from like humid New York to dry-ass Vegas and just completely, and then like being in a plane. Do you know what a plane does to your body? Don't look it up if you travel a lot, but
it's a petri dish. Yeah, I don't love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to give a quick recap of what we talked about in part 1 before we dive into part 2. Harmony Montgomery was born in June of 2014 in Massachusetts to Crystal Sorey and Adam Montgomery. From the very beginning, Harmony was a vulnerable child. She had medical and developmental needs. She was visually impaired, blind in one eye, and almost immediately after her birth, DCF began receiving reports that she was being neglected while in her mother's care. So over the next several years, Harmony was moved in and out of foster care, returned to her mother, removed again, placed back with foster parents who did love her and who did believe that the repeated disruptions were traumatizing her. Meanwhile, Harmony's father, Adam Montgomery, who had been mostly absent from her life because he was incarcerated for shooting someone in the face so that he could steal his heroin, he only had limited supervised contact with her. And that was basically because DCF like tracked him down and was like, you should see your kid. And I don't know why they did that. But in February of 2019, despite the fact that Adam had only spent around 40 supervised hours with Harmony, despite his violent criminal history, despite the fact that New Hampshire had not completed the interstate home study meant to determine whether his home was safe, and despite DCF objecting, a judge awarded Adam full custody of Harmony. So after that, Harmony was moved from the Boston area of Massachusetts to Manchester, New Hampshire with Adam, his wife Kayla, and their children. And almost immediately, the warning signs started piling up. Harmony's mother, Crystal, said Adam cut off her contact with Harmony after a frightening FaceTime call around Easter of 2019. Family members reported that Harmony had a black eye, a severe black eye, that Adam had admitted to hitting her, that she was being isolated, punished, neglected, and forced to live in a filthy home with no electricity, no hot water, and suspected drug use. Neighbors called, relatives called, police were called. DCYF was told over and over again that this little girl was in danger, but the caseworker assigned to investigate, Demetrius Toros, accepted. Yeah.
He had the comments this week.
Not kind to Toros.
Toros, Crime Weekly community, not a fan.
Better watch your back.
Yeah.
Demetrius Toros, who has his own issues with the law and with being physically abusive, he accepted Adam and Kayla's explanations, did no meaningful follow-ups on multiple witnesses, didn't verify that Harmony was enrolled in school. And in October of 2019, DCYF closed the case as unfounded. Less than 2 months later, according to prosecutors, Harmony was dead. So that brings us to the new information we're going to be covering in part 2. So basically at this time, Adam and Kayla Montgomery, along with their 2 children and Harmony, would be evicted from 77 Guilford Street on November 27th, 2019. Now, investigators believe that Harmony Montgomery was killed on December 7th. We're going to talk about why. What evidence do they have to support that belief, which I think is pretty massive. So during that time between November 27th when they were evicted and December 7th when the police believe Harmony was killed, The family was homeless, and they started living out of Adam's silver 2010 Chrysler Sebring. So fast forward to December 31st, 2021, when police were investigating Harmony's disappearance, and Detective Dunleavy of the Manchester Police tracked down Kayla Montgomery after not being able to locate Harmony at any of Adam's previously listed addresses. So Kayla claimed the last time she had seen Harmony was on November 30th, 2019, before she went to work at Dunkin' Donuts in Manchester, New Hampshire. Kayla said that Adam dropped her off at work and told her that he was bringing Harmony to her mother, Crystal, in Lowell, Massachusetts. And when Adam returned to pick Kayla up from work, Harmony wasn't with him. Kayla also said that she had not seen her husband Adam since late October of 2021, and she hadn't spoken to him since November of 2021. She said as far as she knew, Adam had taken off to Maine with another woman named Kelsey Small, and he was living in a sober house. So when asked if she had ever seen Harmony with a black eye, Kayla admitted she had. But at this time, when police are talking to her in 2021, Kayla was still protecting Adam, and Kayla claimed the injury had happened while Harmony was playing with her younger half-brother and had been hit in the eye with a foam bat. So the similar story that Adam had told Demetrios Toros. Kayla apparently felt the need to continue protecting Adam, even though he'd run off with another woman and left her to care for the 3 young children they shared, because when in 2019, when Adam and Kayla and Harmony were evicted from the Gulford Street home, they had 2 children. Adam and Kayla did. But since then, they had another child, because that makes sense. So what the police would soon find out was that Kayla had not been truthful during this conversation about when and where she had last seen Harmony. Now, Kayla would repeat the same story about last seeing Harmony on November 30th before her Dunkin' Donuts shift in front of a grand jury in May of 2022. And when this claim was investigated, it turned out that Kayla, number 1, hadn't even worked at the location she claimed. Number 2, she'd been fired on November 23rd for stealing money from the cash register, and this was from a completely different Dunkin' Donuts location. And so she had been fired before even they had been evicted, several days before they were evicted. So how could you have last seen Harmony on November 30th before you went to work at Dunkin' Donuts when you got fired from Dunkin' Donuts on November 23rd?
Right, exactly. Makes no sense.
Now, also according to Kayla, and as so many had suspected, she and Adam were actively using drugs before and after they'd been evicted from the house on Guilford Street.
I was working up until November 2019 at Dunkin' Donuts. I would work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Adam would be home with the kids while I'm at work, and he would drop me off and pick me up from work because I didn't have a license. And then after he would pick me up, I would be at the house with the kids, and he would leave some nights because we were using drugs, getting high, using heroin and crack and weed.
How did you get your drugs?
I had money from my job, and that's what I remember up until we got kicked out, evicted from the house.
Harmony, Declan, and Seamus, how did you support them?
We had food stamps, and my income, which was barely anything at the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, listen, I dealt with a lot of people who had substance abuse issues. I think many of us have, even if you haven't been in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And I think we can all agree that substance abuse, you know, drug addiction, not a good thing. And it doesn't mean that everybody who's dealing with it is a bad person, because they started off at some point in a good place and it got out of control. The issue here is that it's not only affecting Kayla and Adam, it's affecting the children. Because as she mentioned there, they're getting very little income, and what income she is getting from Dunkin' Donuts, she's spending it on drugs. And so essentially they have food stamps and that's about it. But food stamps doesn't cover clothes and all these other things and just a quality of life that comes with that. And so when I think about it, I'm not sitting here. Well, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't to a certain degree judging Kayla and Adam, but I just feel for the kids because, and I'm not just talking about Harmony, I'm talking about all their children because they didn't make that choice. And now they're having to deal with the consequences of their parents' choices, which anytime I've ever gone into these situations, my heart just breaks over and over again when I look at these kids and I realize that they were put off behind the 8 ball before the minute they were born.
Yeah, I mean, not only, first of all, like you said, food stamps can't cover everything.
Can't cover everything. I was on food stamps as a kid,
But they're not even using the food stamps really to buy food, right? As we're going to find out, they're trading food stamps for drugs. And when Harmony was seen by Uncle Kevin, Adam's Uncle Kevin, he said he brought her to get food at 4 and she said it was the first food she had all day. So they're obviously not feeding at least Harmony properly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not great. So not only did Adam leave the house to go buy drugs, right? Because they got one car. So Kayla's saying, I got to get dropped off at work. I got to get picked up from work. And then he would leave at night to go buy drugs, which, by the way, she's also saying that while she's at work during these early morning hours, Adam's at home with the kids, which I cringe to think about what Harmony was going through at that point. Not that Kayla was going to be this protector, but just in general. I kind of had the impression that Adam was more abusive, more horrible to Harmony for whatever reason than Kayla was, even though Kayla wasn't, great to Harmony. But Adam would leave the house to go get drugs, and then he'd have people come over and sell drugs and then do the drugs while they were there at the house with the kids around. So during one of these occasions, Kayla remembered Adam showing their drug-dealing guests some guns that had been stolen from the home of their friends and fellow drug users, Kimberly and Chris Frayne. So Chris Frayne told the police that on September 29th, 2019, he went shooting with his Mossberg 12-gauge shotgun and Stag Arms AR-15 rifle, and afterward, he put those 2 long guns under his bed, and additionally, a Ruger 38 handgun he owned was in a drawer in his bedroom with another gun. So Chris then left home for a construction job, and he returned on October 3rd, 2019, at which point he discovered his weapons were missing. So Chris's wife, Kimberly Frayne, she testified during Adam Montgomery's weapons trial, because there's 2 different trials that Adam had to go through, the weapons one and then the one for the murder of Harmony. So at his weapons trial, Kimberly Frayne testified that Adam had come over to their place while her husband, Chris, was out of town. She said that Adam was still there, and then she fell asleep because they were doing drugs, right? They were doing drugs. Let's just say what it is. They're together doing drugs, God knows what else, because if I'm Chris and I'm like, what the hell's Adam doing at my house when I'm out of town for a work job? But anyways, Adam comes over, they're doing drugs. Kimberly admitted she fell asleep because she hadn't slept in days due to heavy drug use. And then she fell asleep when Adam's still in her house. And then when she woke up, he was gone, and she said the door had been left open. So another witness, Mark Reed, testified that Adam had texted him on October 3rd, 2019, trying to sell him a 12-gauge shotgun, but Reed didn't have enough cash or heroin, so he was unable to make the purchase. Several other witnesses placed the guns in Adam's possession after they vanished from the Frayne home. Kevin LaBelle testified that Adam showed him a shotgun and an AR-15, and LaBelle ended up buying the shotgun from Adam for $250. Michael Sullivan testified that he saw Adam showing off a shotgun and also saw Adam trading a rifle for drugs.
Yeah. Stag Arms rifle, by the way, is a very expensive gun.
Probably more than he's getting in return for like drugs and money.
Yeah. If you were to buy it in a store, I mean, at that time it'd be different, but let's just say anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500.
So Michael Sullivan also talked about a conversation that he had with Adam where basically Sullivan was saying, hey, Kimberly Frayne claims that our neighbors have security cameras. And Adam was like, no, I know that Kimberly's lying about this because if their neighbors had cameras, I would be in jail, right? And then Kayla testified saying that she didn't actually see Adam bring guns into their home the night that they were stolen, but she did later see Adam with the guns in their living room trying to sell or trade them for drugs. Now, this leads into a larger conversation about what the hell was Adam doing when we look at these people and we're like, how do you guys not have jobs? How do you only have food stamps and you're trading some of your food stamps for drugs, but also you seem to always be doing drugs? It's because they were finding a way to get money other places, stealing things from people, selling the things they stole, etc. The bigger conversation, I think, is that we have them at a house, 77 Gulford. They have a place to live. They have a roof over their head.
Yeah.
They got 3 kids there at the time. And they are not only actively doing drugs all the time, they're not only leaving the house to find drugs, but they are bringing people there, unsavory characters, to the house to sell drugs to them, to buy drugs, to do drugs together while these kids are at the house.
At minimum, you're looking at a scenario where one of the kids could get into the drugs and be seriously hurt or killed.
Or just see horrible things that go along
That's the other side
drug
of this.
use.
This isn't speculation. When I was doing search warrants, there were multiple times where I had young children who had been sexually assaulted by drug users who were, quote unquote, just spending the night there to sleep off whatever high they were going through. Happens all the time. So yeah, you're really putting your children in a dangerous situation. And clearly, Kayla and Adam did not care.
Yeah, or like they go to sleep and those people are still there. Remember they had that other person living there that they claimed to Demetrios Toros that, oh, all this drug paraphernalia is this guy's, right? I think his name was Alex Call. But you have that guy living there.
Yeah.
So you're putting your kids in dangerous positions all the time.
Then you have also competitors and people that you have issues with who are looking for your money.
Now they know where you live if they want to come looking for you because you owe them money,
That's right?
Yeah.
Break in the house and those kids, it's not like it's like, oh, you know, even the bad guys put the kids in a bubble and you don't get to see any of this. No, they're being exposed to that before having to get up and go to school or whatever they're doing. It's just
they could take the
completely
kids.
Unacceptable. Or
we're going to sell your kids or we're going to keep them until you give us money. Like there's just so many stupid things that could go wrong, scenarios you're potentially causing. So, I mean, but this is the least of what Adam and Kayla do.
Without knowing a lot of the story like you do, it does make me wonder if things were this bad, why was Adam pushing so hard for custody of Harmony? Like it can't be for good reasons.
So it's a back and forth thing. Like they were getting over $100 more a month in food stamps for her.
That's where I'm going with this. Like it had to be a hey, we can claim her and get a higher amount of government assistance just by having her under our roof.
Right, because we'll talk about it, but Kayla claims, I haven't seen Harmony since November of 2019 or whatever, right? But you kept her on your food stamps.
That's right.
And you kept getting money for it. Okay, so that is a thing. Crystal, Harmony's mother, believes a lot of it was like a controlling thing too. Like, oh, I'm going to show you. I have
for
control.
Sure. Petty.
Yeah.
Petty. But I definitely think a part of this was in Adam's mind, because he's a piece of shit, in my opinion, saw dollar signs, saw an opportunity to increase his revenue, if you will, from the government with a very little lift, just to have her under the roof, be able to say, hey, here's my paperwork. Now I'm a father of 3. Give me more money. That had to be the motivation here, plus the pettiness.
Well, they're going to get money for every child they have. So when you add another child and then Harmony's got some special needs and things like that, maybe her food stamps benefit was a little higher than the other two. So yeah, we don't know the motive, but control money.
If Adam was clean and had turned it around, then maybe, he just wants his daughter back. No, this was an opportunity to get more money for drugs.
Yeah, and then you also have to wonder if it's this bad, which I believe 100% it was.
Oh, yeah.
How does Demetrios Toros go there? And he's like, every time I see Kayla and Adam, they're lucid. They don't seem to be using any drugs. Like, come on, dude.
No, I'm sure there was some acting going on there, maybe a cleanup of the house. But no, if you dig a little bit and you look under the bed.
No, apparently not, because there's freaking drug paraphernalia still there when he does his first unannounced visit, Like, no. They were just like, that's Alex's. We just keep it here because why not? Like,
but imagine how bad it was before he showed up. Like, before they knew he was coming.
But because Kayla said we expected you. Yeah.
No doubt.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Helix, which we're both very familiar with at this point because we both sleep on a Helix mattress.
We do.
Yes, we're both Midnight Lux people, which honestly feels very on brand for us. Like, of course, we both ended up with the same mattress, and it's got some like dark name, like Midnight Lux.
Yeah, so either it's great minds think alike, or we're just both very particular about our sleep, and I think it's the latter.
And I will say, I've been sleeping on my Helix mattress for a while now. It really has made a difference. Before Helix, I was waking up constantly during the night, constant back pain, overheating, overheating, tossing, turning, basically doing a full investigative reenactment in my sleep.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting. Literally exhausting.
Then I'd wake up in the morning like, wow, I can't wait to just be tired all day, and I'd just be waiting for night to come so I could go to sleep and do the same thing all over. But since switching to Helix, I sleep deeper, I wake up way less, and I actually feel more rested when I start my day.
Same. I'm in the same boat as you. And that's what I really like about Helix. It's not one of those one size fits all situations because they understand that people sleep differently. You have side sleepers, back sleepers, stomach sleepers. Everyone has their own weird sleep habits. I know I have them. So they get it. They understand that.
Exactly. Helix has over 20 different mattress models, so you can find something that actually fits your sleep style. And if you're someone who gets hot at night, they have cooling upgrade options too, both for pillows and the mattress, which is huge, especially during the summer.
Yeah, and they make the process really easy. The mattress ships right to your door for free. Setup is simple, and they give you a 120-night sleep trial. So if you can't figure it out within 120 nights, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, basically they're giving you several months to figure out, do I like this mattress, or I can send it back if I don't. And it's not just that they give you the opportunity to sleep on the mattress, live with it, make sure it works for you. They also offer a limited lifetime warranty, and Helix is the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. So if your current mattress is giving crime scene instead of peaceful night's sleep, this is your sign.
Yeah, that might be the most Crime Weekly way to say you need a mattress.
I stand by it. So if you're looking to upgrade your sleep, go to helixsleep.com/crimeweekly for 20% off site-wide, 25% off Luxe mattresses, and 30% off Elite mattresses. This is a great deal. So site-wide includes the pillows, by the way, and then you're going to get a much better discount on these Luxe and Elite mattresses. That's helixsleep.com/crimeweekly for 20% off site-wide, 25% off Luxe mattresses, and 30% off Elite mattresses. Once again, helixsleep.com/crimeweekly. Okay, so Kayla also helped fill in the blanks for us about what life was like once they were evicted and living out of a car.
When you began living in that car, who were you with?
It was myself and Adam, Harmony, and the two boys.
Where were you sleeping during that period?
In the car,
Where would you keep the car?
behind Colonial Village in Manchester,
Why Colonial Village?
because that's where our friend lived,
What was your friend's name?
Anthony Bodero.
Did you tell Mr. Badero that you were living there in that parking lot?
He asked us not to, but yes.
Okay, so when she says friend, Anthony Bodero, she means drug dealer Anthony Bodero, but we'll talk about that soon enough. You know, they had to be close. They had to be close. So they are going and parking behind where he lives in his apartment complex. And she says he told us not to, but we did anyway, and he knew about it, and that's going to be important too. We're going to talk about all that.
And so, can you just describe this sleeping arrangement in that vehicle for you and your family at the time?
Adam would sleep in the driver's seat. I slept in the passenger seat. And Harmony was behind the passenger seat. The baby, Declan, was in the middle, and Seamus was behind the driver's seat.
Kayla, I asked you earlier about whether Harmony was potty trained when you got custody of her, and I believe you said she was.
Yes.
Did that change at some point after the eviction?
Yes.
And tell the jury about that. What happened to Harmony?
She wouldn't let us know when she had to use the bathroom, and so she was peeing in the car, just in her seat that she was sitting in, and she wouldn't tell us that she had to use the bathroom.
Was she only peeing, or was she having other accidents at the time?
She was also pooping.
How frequently was this occurring for Harmony?
A lot. Like, at least every day.
And did those accidents, did they increase in frequency the longer you were in that car?
Yes.
How was the defendant responding when she had these accidents?
Getting angry.
Would he do anything physically to her when she had accidents?
Yeah, he would smack her.
And what does that mean, that he would smack her?
He would smack her in the face, or on her leg, or in her hand.
Were these soft smacks,
No.
hard smacks, or something else?
They were, like, hurt, stung smacks.
What makes you say hurt, stung smacks?
Because she would cry during, like, whenever she got smacked by him. And I could hear it, and it sounds like it hurt.
I'm sorry, you could hear the crying or you could hear the smack?
Smack. And the crying. The more accidents she had, the more he would get angry, and he would hit her repetitively.
Was the defendant causing visible injuries to Harmony?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes. When he would hit her, she started getting black eyes and bruises on her face, on her legs. He would cover her with a comforter that we had in the car
Why would he cover her?
so nobody could see her.
How often would he cover Harmony?
All the time. Anytime that we had interference with anybody, no matter who it was.
Was this only when you went out in public, or was it when you were still in that parking lot, or both?
Both.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot I could say here, and I was thinking it while watching that, and I know I'm going to speak for everybody who's listening or watching right now, but it's not going to change anything, so I'll keep it to you guys have been with us long enough to know how I feel after watching that video and the things that I would like to do to Adam. On a lesser note, but not far off, Kayla's in the same category as me. If you're complicit, you're just as guilty, and to sit there, not do anything, not intervene, at minimum, not report it, you're a piece of trash as well. And great, she's sitting here testifying, but she's only doing it to save herself. So I got nothing for her to say that's positive. And again, there's things that I could say, but I think I don't need to say them. I think most people who are a part of this right now are feeling the same way. It's terrible.
Yeah, and so this bitch, Kayla, by the way,
Yeah.
she's sitting here like, Harmony wouldn't tell us when she had to go to bullshit.
Yeah, no.
Bullshit, okay?
Yeah,
because once...
hold it. That's what they were telling her. Hold it.
Yeah, Kayla talks a lot, but there were times that she was like, yeah, I mean, Harmony would say she had to go to the bathroom and Adam would get mad. Okay, so, and it would, of course, make perfect sense that a 5-year-old who was fully potty trained, we heard from multiple people, including Kayla herself, that Harmony was fully potty trained and not having accidents. And it would make sense that a 5-year-old who was fully potty trained and not having any accidents would regress in this situation, right?
No doubt.
She'd been moved from home to home, separated from familiar caregivers, exposed to violence, exposed to drug use, instability, then evicted from at least a house and living in a car with no normal bathroom routine, no access to bathrooms regularly, no privacy, no stability, and likely constant fear. And since Harmony was beaten and terrorized every time she had an accident, and it sounds also like from previous testimony from Kayla that she may have been beaten and terrorized every time she said she had to go to the bathroom, okay, she's going to become more afraid, more anxious, more dysregulated, and that's going to result in her trying to hold it and hide it. Yeah. So Harmony was no longer in a place where a 5-year-old should be, like listening to her body. She's trying to manage her terror. And terror does not help a child maintain control. It obviously strips control completely away. So
it makes perfect sense, right? And what you're saying is without a doubt what happened. She was being abused just for merely saying, I have to use the restroom. So that was causing her not to say it and hold it until the last second. She wasn't just going to the bathroom because she just felt like doing that. It was literally to the point where she was scared to tell them she had to use the restroom. So it was a cyclical thing where whether she told them or didn't tell them, she was being beaten.
I agree.
It's just terrible.
And you heard Kayla say Adam would cover her with a blanket.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who we were coming across, she would be covered with a blanket so that nobody would see her. And so Adam covered Harmony with this comforter or this blanket on November 29th, 2019, when his vehicle was involved in a car accident, and Manchester police officer Neil Peniton responded to the call on South Wilson Street. Now, during the trial, this police officer testified that he only saw 2 children in Adam Montgomery's vehicle, and Kayla said that was because Adam had covered Harmony up with the comforter because she had a black eye and he didn't want the police to see her. Now, at the time of this accident, Kayla testified that she, Adam, and another woman, Tabitha Scott, were driving to buy drugs. Now, Tabitha Scott, is she really important in this case? She's a friend, quote unquote, of Kayla's, once again, just people they do drugs with.
Yep.
Kayla was asked during the trial, like, did Tabitha know Harmony was in the car, even though Harmony was covered up by a comforter? And Kayla's like, yeah, she knew she was in the car. Like, she didn't see her because she was covered, but she knew she was in the car. Tabitha Scott can also and should also burn in hell. So, but understand, this is no longer an entire house where we can even say the adults were doing drugs and then they found another room to go into so that the children possibly could have been protected from seeing or being exposed to the drug use. No, they are driving with Tabitha Scott to go and buy drugs. And all of this is happening in the car where they now live in with their 3 children.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Thanksgiving, November 28th, 2019. This is the day after Adam and Kayla, along with the other children, were evicted from their house. And that night, Matthew and Courtney Garcia saw Adam, Kayla, and the kids, including Harmony. So obviously at this point, Harmony doesn't have black eyes and all of that because they haven't been living in the car for a few days. She's not getting beaten for having to go to the bathroom. Now, Matthew was a childhood friend of Adam Montgomery's, and the Garcias gave them money for gas and food. And Courtney at that time said they were in the Chrysler Sebring, and the car was in bad shape. It had bald tires. It just wasn't looking good. The Garcias offered Adam and Kayla a place to stay for the night, and Courtney said that Adam seemed like he was for it, but he and Kayla ended up not agreeing about staying there. And then they left. So let's leave 2019 for a moment, fast forward back to 2021, when police were trying to figure out where Harmony Montgomery was. So after talking to Kayla on December 31st, officers were able to locate Adam and his new girlfriend, Kelsey Small, and they were sleeping in a vehicle in the area of Harvell Street in Manchester. So Adam was not living in a sober house, and he was not in Maine, like Kayla told the police. So Adam told the police a few different things at this point. According to the report, quote, he made some contradictory statements during our interaction, which raised our suspicion and concern for Harmony's well-being. Initially, Adam told Detective Dunleavy that Harmony was fine and he had seen her somewhat recently. However, as our conversation continued, Adam said that he had not seen Harmony since Crystal came to pick her up in Manchester around Thanksgiving of 2019. We each emphasized our primary concern is locating Harmony and establishing that she is safe. Adam stopped answering our questions multiple times and stated, I have nothing else to say. During our interaction with Adam, we stressed our concern that Harmony had not been physically observed in over 2 years and that we had concern for whether or not she was still alive. Adam did not exhibit much emotion to this. Adam said he believed Harmony was in Massachusetts with her mother. Adam claimed he did not know why Crystal would say anything to the contrary. End quote.
Hey, keep your hands where I can see them. What's going on?
He was found sleeping in a car in a Manchester, New Hampshire parking lot on December 31st, 2021, when investigators caught up with Adam Montgomery for the first time.
It just seems a little strange that you don't want to tell us where she is.
All right, I got nothing else to say to you guys.
He repeatedly refused to answer questions in a 45-minute interaction, but did claim she was alive.
Your daughter's alive?
Yeah,
You're sure?
I'm positive.
You're like, swear on your life.
I swear on my life.
So we're going to hear more from Adam because he's got a police interview coming up. And
Swear on your life. If he swears on his life, it must be true.
yeah, this guy thinks he's like a gangster. He thinks he's like Mark Wahlberg in some movie where like he has to deal drugs because his family like needs help, and he's just on the streets. And you'll see he talks like he's Scarface or something, but. Adam, you'll find out that Adam has a big problem with the way he was approached by police at this time. He said they pulled up to him and like rammed his car, and then they took his girlfriend and they told his girlfriend like, listen, you don't know who you're dealing with. He's dangerous. You better get away from him, and he's got a big problem with being characterized this way by the police and treated like such a criminal when they can't prove that he did anything. Now, at that time, his girlfriend, 27-year-old Kelsey Small, who was originally from Maine, told police that she'd been with Adam for over a year, and she was aware that he had 4 children with 2 different mothers, the 3 from Kayla and then Harmony with Crystal. Although she said she was also aware that he was not in touch with any of the children from his prior relationships. So after being found in a car with Adam Montgomery in December of 2021, this girl, Kelsey, her situation quickly deteriorated. So obviously she's using drugs as well. This is why they're together. Goffstown, New Hampshire police records showed she was arrested outside the sober home where she was living in March of 2022. She was charged with a DUI. That was her second offense. She was released and due in court the following week. But on March 13th, 5 days after her arrest, Kelsey was found dead in a Manchester hotel room from a suspected drug overdose.
Shocker.
Yeah. So by the time Adam Montgomery would go on trial for the murder of his daughter, Kelsey was not able to testify and speak for herself. But her grandfather, Douglas Small, did testify. And he said that Adam and Kelsey had stayed with him for 2 periods in Carmel, Maine in 2021. And the second time he had driven to Manchester to pick them up and bring them back to Maine. And before they left Maine for that second time, he gave Kelsey his 2006 gray Pontiac Grand Prix so that they could get back to Manchester, which is the vehicle that Kelsey and Adam were found in by the police in December of 2021. So on December 31st, 2021, a family court judge gave New Hampshire DCYF legal authority to step in and supervise Harmony's welfare, even though Adam Montgomery was still technically her sole and legal guardian. This is at the end of 2021, right? And the judge is like, okay, DCYF, you can now step in and you can, do something. You can have some power here. Now, this was done through an emergency abuse/neglect order called an ex parte order, meaning it could be issued without Adam being present in court because the situation was urgent. So the order specifically told Adam that he had to cooperate with Manchester police and help them find Harmony. So then Detective Riley personally handed Adam that court order at about 4:10 p.m. on December 31st. But when detectives told Adam that he now had to provide information about where Harmony was because of this court order, right? Adam refused. He told them, arrest me or I'm leaving, and then he stopped answering questions. So they did not arrest him on that day, but Adam would be arrested on January 4th, 2022, which was just, about 4 days later, on the following charges: second-degree assault from the July 2019 black eye incident, interference with custody, and 2 charges of endangering the welfare of a child. And so then after his arrest, Adam was taken to an interrogation room and read his Miranda rights, where he continued to be uncooperative, and he continued to be, at the least, a cocky bastard, and at the most, a completely unfeeling sociopath. And this is where I said, you'll see. I mean, you're kind of from this area, right? Rhode Island.
Yeah.
You were a police detective. I'm sure you have sat across the interview table from dozens of Adam Montgomerys and seen them act exactly this way and seen them sort of have this whole demeanor about them, like they are somebody, like they have a right and a reason to be offended that they're even talking to you. So Let's see how this went and how you react to it.
Before we go forward, can we get a cigarette in here?
So there's a sensor in there, so I'll work on getting you a cigarette at some point. I can't promise you one right now, just because the room we're in, and if this starts going off, I don't want to flood the building. You know what I mean?
You think they're gonna go off?
That thing will, the sprinkler. So, but at some point we'll work on getting you. I know we have cigarettes in here. I know where they are. Okay, you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Do you need water?
I don't need nothing.
You good? Okay. Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
Okay. What's not okay?
Nothing. So,
All right. Let's talk about why we're here to talk.
tell me what you want to say.
Tell me what you know.
I don't know nothing.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day?
You said you had a couple questions you wanted to ask me. You asked me the questions.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day? Remember we met? I mean, you remember that was only a few days ago, right? We got a lot of worried people and scared people right now in the community. I know you're worried about the well-being of your daughter, and I kind of want to get ahead of this because I don't want you to be painted as a monster.
Well, that's what you guys are already doing.
I am?
No, we're not. Oh, yeah.
Can you explain that?
That's what you guys are already trying to do, man.
Explain to me how I'm trying to make you, or whoever is trying to make you out to be a monster. Who's telling you that stuff? Is there somebody that I work with that told you that? Somebody you're close with, that they told you that?
No.
All right. But you understand this whole thing is getting a little out of hand, would you agree?
Of course. But
So that's why,
look, it's just the way you guys are going about it.
and again,
Yeah,
I don't
not you specifically, but
Right.
yeah, nobody comes out there like that for a second-degree assault charge. Nobody. But arrested for worse charges, they don't come out and throw fucking flashbangs at my girlfriend's car and ram us into the fucking guardrail. They don't do that for a second-degree assault charge.
again, you understand what the charges are, right?
Second-degree assault, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also an endangering the welfare charge
Okay.
and interference with custody. Okay,
So how did I interfere with custody?
So that paperwork that we served you the other day, you remember that?
Okay.
When they were in the alleyway, you remember outside of Long Lake Ave?
Yeah.
There's paperwork that you have to comply with. You understand that, right? We had that conversation, did we not? Right? So that's what that's all about.
So
Like,
secondary assault charge, what is this referring to?
well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Well, explain to me what, if I'm being charged with it, what the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries
What?
that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are
That's-
you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say.
Like,
No.
we talked about how we were worried about your daughter the other day, right?
Okay.
You remember that
I
conversation?
remember that conversation, but right off the rip, with the way you're approaching the conversation, you guys are completely out of line. So,
Me?
yeah.
Do I? In the time that you've known me, which
What
is
you just said to me, you guys are completely out of line.
okay, but so explain to me how are we out of line?
I have nothing to explain.
Okay, but wouldn't you rather explain it so we can make sense of it than just have other people's side of the story? Like, you want to defend yourself and like this picture people are painting of you. Now's your chance, man. Defend
Whose side of the story? Who's telling you these things?
people that were close to you.
Obviously not.
Well, maybe at the time, maybe not anymore.
Right off the rip, that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there,
As well.
how would you explain those?
How was she got those marks?
Well, I would love to know when that marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Okay. Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point and they would have said something. They wouldn't have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of. All the kids loved being at the house with me.
There's so much to unpack there. First off, I love how even the detective throws out there to this career criminal, like, hey, we all know DCYF doesn't always do the best job. And they're like, yeah, we know that. We
they're
know.
like the end all be all, right?
Yeah, they're not like the flagship. He said flagship, but like he meant like they're not the standard of like doing a proper investigation. Not saying all of them, but this isn't the first time this story happened.
I think he kind of meant like there's higher agencies and those higher agencies are now looking into it.
Yeah.
So like we don't care what DCYF said.
Yeah, I took it as like they came there and said there was nothing to report. And he's like, yeah, well, we all know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not the flagship. Anyways, as far as the actual interview, you look at the body language. This is someone, without having a baseline for Adam, someone who's closed off, shoulders are forward, kind of hunched over, looking down at the table, just defeated.
Defeated? He doesn't seem defeated to me. He seems like cocky. Like, why am I even here?
But there are things within his body that are contradictory to what he's trying to present himself as being confident and completely innocent in all of this. The body language doesn't align with what's coming out of his mouth. However, one similarity, and you kind of alluded to this at the beginning, that I see with all of these types of people, whether it's for a drug crime of violence, whatever it is, they're always the victim. They're always the victim. They're just being painted as the bad guy. This is, police are after them. Their family's after them. They're just being railroaded here. This is just another example of them getting a bad break. Life has just been unfair to them. They
always
all do
constantly
this.
misunderstood.
And I got to tell you, as the detective in that room, it takes a little piece of your soul every time you have to go in there and placate to these ass clowns, because you have to entertain them. Oh, this is your opportunity. Listen.
Yeah, because they really want to find out what happened to Harmony. Like, we got to figure it out, and this freaking guy knows, so we got to find out from him. And he wants to talk about, like, I've been arrested on second degree, worse than a second degree assault charge before. They don't throw flashbangs at your car and ram you into the guardrail. Like, you need to talk. We need to talk about how poorly I was treated.
Yep, and they're giving him a cigarette and all this stuff. Their stomachs are turning right now. And I will say, without jumping too far ahead in this interview, because I don't know where it's going to go, if these investigators have been doing it a while, and I'm sure they put their best people on this case, you already know by his responses and the deflection that's going on that whatever happened to Harmony, it ain't good.
And that he's not going to tell you.
Ain't
but
good.
They got to try.
And you got to be, just by his reaction, where he could have ended this right now and say, hey, she's over here. Get me out of here. You know, at minimum, she's either been given to somebody that she shouldn't have been, or she's no longer with us. You already know.
The possibilities are running through their heads.
You're not thinking this is going to have a happy ending.
Yeah, so I will also say, like, yes, he does seem defeated. He does kind of seem like, man, I know this is the end of the road. Like, I got away with this for far longer than I thought I was going to, right?
He's not going to be able to produce Harmony.
It's the end of 2021. She's been gone since, at the very least, the beginning of 2020. So I've gotten away with this for a long time, but he's still thinking, like, they're not going to get from me. Like, I know that they're going to get me, but I won't give them the satisfaction of helping them.
Well, he's also a career criminal. He knows the legality of it, and it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And so his only hope at this point is that these guys are idiots and they do a bad investigation and there's a technicality. And the irony that we're sitting here talking about this because
there's a technicality,
but he knows that the only way to get him out of this situation is to bring Harmony forward. And he knows, even before detectives, that this situation is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Because right now, it's a second-degree assault charge, but that's to get him in the door to find Harmony. And he knows they're not going to find her. So he knows he's not going anywhere.
And he also knows they have the second-degree assault charge based on something that happened in July of 2019 that, according to DCYF, was not actually an issue. So they really can't hold him for very long with this.
I disagree. Maybe they let him out. I'll be shocked if you tell me they do. But now that they have him in the door, he has to produce Harmony.
Well, he's going to keep saying the same thing. And that's because, as you said, he did end up going on trial. He did end up getting convicted of Harmony's murder.
That's right.
And now his conviction's overturned because of a technicality. If they had her body, then this might not be such a quick overturn at this point. Like they might not even have needed to present all the evidence that allowed for the overturn to happen if they had recovered Harmony's body. But at this point, Adam's gatekeeping that. And in 2021, when he's talking to the police, he's gatekeeping it again because he's like, do what you want, but you won't have me bring you to the evidence you need to put me behind bars for life.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this because it's been a little bit, but the whole reason we're doing this and the technicality is this second-degree assault that was kind of combined with the murder charge, and that's why the court argued, or I should say the defense argued, that it should have been separate, and because it wasn't, he didn't get a fair trial, and that's the whole reason we're here.
They're saying that presenting that evidence was that previous abuse incident was going to bias the jury.
Of course. Oh, he beat up a child, so therefore he must be a killer.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And by the way, spoiler alert,
it is
you're
exactly
right.
Yes, and it is exactly from that July 2019 black eye that this technicality happened. Yeah.
But this right here, guys, for everyone that's not, for all the interviews we don't have and we just have to relay them to you, I can tell you they look similar to this right here.
So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back and continue on with Adam and his bullshit. This episode is brought to you by Revolve, which is basically where I go when I have something coming up and I need an outfit that makes it look like I planned ahead.
So like organized chaos, but fashion.
Sometimes you have a dinner, a trip, an event, a wedding, photos, something on the calendar where leggings and a sweatshirt are not going to communicate the message that you're trying to send.
Which is unfortunate because leggings and a sweatshirt do communicate a very honest message.
Yeah, for me, that message is I'm tired and emotionally burnt out right now, which is fine for certain situations, but not all of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's why we love Revolve. So when I don't want to overthink what I'm wearing, I can go there. Everything feels curated in a way that actually makes sense. You can shop by vibe. So like date night, vacation, night out. So you're not just endlessly scrolling through a black hole trying to piece an outfit together like it's evidence.
Yeah, because that's the kind of investigation no one wants to do.
Exactly. I do enough of that professionally. I don't want to be cross-examining a blouse at 11 p.m.
Where were you on the night of the dinner reservation, right?
And do you pair with shoes I already own? Because no, none of the shoes I already own is going to work, but Revolve makes it easy because they have daily new arrivals, inclusive sizing, and so many brands and styles that look elevated but are still effortless. It's very much that put together without looking like you tried too hard energy.
Yeah, which is the goal, right? You want to look like you just casually walked out of your house looking great.
But I also love that with fast shipping and easy returns, I can order a couple of options. If I have something coming up and I don't feel like making a lifelong commitment to a dress, I can try it on.
Yeah, a dress shouldn't feel like a marriage contract.
It really shouldn't. So whether it's a weekend away, a dinner, a wedding, a big night out, or just one of those last minute plans where you suddenly need something that works, Revolve is an easy go-to. Revolve always has it. Go to revolve.com/crimeweekly to shop our faves and use code crimeweekly for 15% off your first order. Fast shipping, easy returns, just makes everything easier. That's revolve.com/crimeweekly. You can shop our faves and get 15% off your first order. Offer ends July 13th, so don't miss out. Okay, we're back. So the detectives kept asking Adam about Harmony's black eye. In July of 2019, he kept insisting he had no idea what they were talking about. He was acting outright offended that they had the audacity to think he could do anything. How could you think I could leave marks on my daughter? And he was like, significant marks? What's that even mean? You know, he kept going back and forth. So then they start talking about when he, Kayla, and the kids were evicted from the Guilford Street home. And this seems to touch a nerve with Adam because we'll find out that there's kind of a restraining order from Kayla. Now Adam can't go near her and the kids, and he's really upset about it. And he's like, I can't even see my kids, and he's freaking out. And it's like, according to Kayla, you haven't seen her in over a year at this. She hasn't even heard from you since November of, I think, it's been at least a few months. She doesn't know where he is. He's left with another woman, but he's really upset now that because of all this, he can't see his kids.
I don't know, right around Thanksgiving sometimes, the sheriffs came and threw us out. And then me, Harmony, and Declan, Seamus, and Kayla left.
And where the heck did you guys go from there?
We were in our car.
Oh, so you lived in your car at that time?
For a couple of days.
How'd you get up out of that situation? Like, who took you in, or where'd you guys end up?
We ended up going to our mom's house, Kayla's mom's house.
Okay. And what's her name?
Chris.
How's she? Well, I mean, she must be okay if she's willing to take you guys in.
Yeah. All right. They're like, all right. I you know what, man? Like, I don't even want to talk anymore. Like, this is just beating around the bush, man. It just seems a little too silly to me.
Well, I'm trying to figure out who can substantiate your claims that there's, like, you're not this, like, monster or person that either DCYF made you out to be, or your family who you didn't get along with, or whoever.
But yeah, no, we were, but to sit there, man, and sit there and tell me you yourself too, like, this is why I feel like it's just all bullshit. This is just a game. I know it is. I'm not stupid.
We're just trying to give you the opportunity to explain yourself.
You're sitting here telling me not to make me out to look like some monster. Well, I told my girlfriend the other day that she should get the fuck away from me, that you don't even know who I am and what my past is like and all types of crazy shit, like, but sit there and look me in my face.
Adam, I think, are you talking about Kelsey?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Kelsey might be exaggerating a little bit.
Right.
I don't know her to exagerate like that.
That wasn't us talking to Kelsey either.
Oh,
there was other people talking to her, just so you know.
She told me, she gave me your card and said this was the guy that said it.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you that I didn't say that. But if you want to believe it, that's fine.
I mean, she never had no reason to lie to me. So I don't know what she would lie about at that point.
I'm trying to understand. I don't know your timeline of life, man. You're there. I'm not. That's why I'm trying to ask you these questions to clarify them.
I already told you the other day what transpired. So we didn't even go to her mother's house.
Okay. Who didn't go to her mother's house?
Tommy was all.
Well, there's some discrepancies between what you're telling us and what other people are telling us. You're saying you brought her down to Mass. Somebody said she came up from Mass.
I never once said I brought her down to Mass.
What did you say? She came up here to get her?
I never once said. I was audio video recorded the other day. I never once said I went down to Mass.
So you're saying that she came up from Mass?
I'm not saying anything else.
Why is it that you refuse to talk about her every time we bring her up?
Because you guys are just sitting here beating a bush. It's over and over. You guys asked me what happened the other day. I told you what happened.
You wouldn't tell us the other day.
You guys talked to me the other day. I explained to him what happened the other day. And now it was just a charade. Yep. No, don't worry about it. You're not under arrest. And I'll come up with some fucking bullshit.
We didn't arrest you.
No, the other day. No, but then you had a fucking SWAT team roll up on me and the fucking D-Techs follow me around for the last 3 days.
Yeah, people are coming out of the woodwork. That's what we're trying to tell you. Like, we don't want you to be painted as a monster. We want you to maybe explain yourself a little bit and give us some side of your story. We have nothing. We have just what we're hearing from people. You keep locking up on us. You don't want to tell us anything about her.
I got nothing else to say.
I think you care
About all my kids.
right, but the one I care the most about is your daughter, Harmony. My job is not to jam somebody up for something that they didn't do wrong. And if you can tell me that you didn't do anything wrong, then I want to believe you because, dude, I've met you now a few times. I helped you out when you were at the hospital when you were having a fucking meltdown. You told me about your kids. I sat there and I talked to you. Dude, I could have fucking tased you right there, and I didn't do that because I saw deep down inside that you were hurting and that I wanted to help you. Right now, all I'm trying to do is help your daughter. I want to bring her home, and I can't do that without your help. Dude, I can't do that without your help. Help, hey, can you look at me? Help me, please. That's all I'm asking for. I can't sleep until I know that she's okay. And I know that you know where she is or what happened to her, but I can't do it without your help. And if you don't want to look like this fucking animal, because I don't think you are. Not that I don't think you are, I know you aren't. But I can only do so much for you, man.
I know.
I'm begging you to help me.
That's it, guys. I got nothing
Hey,
else to say.
can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other
No,
day.
it's not word games.
I got nothing else
Because we
to say.
care, man. We want to know.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, this isn't gonna stop. So
No,
you
I
know.
know it's not.
So
So,
either get on the bus now or get run over.
well, I got nothing else to say.
Why is it you have so much trouble talking about Harmony?
Guys, I got nothing else to say.
Yeah, so there it is, right? So first off, great job by the detectives. It's almost like I was talking about earlier where you're having to kind of like entertain this person. He doesn't believe the detective doesn't believe anything he's saying at that point. I know you're not a monster. Translation, I know you're a monster, right? It's just, but you have to play that game. However, there's some body language cues in there that tell you what you need to know without Adam saying anything. The lean back in the chair, the look up at the sky, the hands kind of flexing in his, he's holding his hands together. And then the actual words, right? There's a moment where he says, I know. And, I got nothing. Then he just goes back to, I got nothing else to say. He asks.
That's it, buddies. That's it.
Yep. He asks him directly, is she still alive? I can't tell you that. So he knows, they know.
Yeah, he said, we're not playing the same word games because that's what they asked him. Remember
Right.
when he said, I swear on my life, he's like, we're not playing the same word games that you've asked me before, which is like, I'm not answering you directly. Yeah.
And then once he finally says the magic words, I want a lawyer, that's when you can say I have nothing else to say. Even after being Mirandized, you saying I have nothing else to say, that doesn't require detectives to stop asking you questions. However, when you say I want a lawyer, that's endgame.
That's it.
That's endgame, yeah.
That's a wrap.
But
yeah.
he said a lot without saying much.
He did. And I think I do also want to point out that he's an active drug user. A lot of his fidgeting, a lot of the things he was doing with his hands, obviously him insisting he had a cigarette, these are all things he's trying to do because he's not able to do drugs right now, right? He's going to be there for several hours.
Yeah, he's having withdrawals. Yeah. But if you look at it, again, very small baseline. But if you're looking for the subtleties that are different than what you've witnessed throughout the entire interrogation, anybody can do this. You look at that video that Stephanie has showed to us, this entire video, and 99.9% of it, he's in the same position with the same posture. It's not until the detective looks at him in the eye, closely touches his arm, and asks him right out specifically about Harmony and where she is and that he knows where she is and he can help, that at that moment, he finally subconsciously breaks his hands, leans back, and looks up almost at the sky. It sounds like nothing, but when you compare it to the entire interview, that's the first moment where they tried to really back him into a corner about Harmony, and there was no way for him to get out because the detective was being super nice, that he finally goes, yep, I give up. They got me. I got nothing here. Guys, I got nothing else to say. So is that enough to get a conviction? No, but when you're looking for those minor nonverbal cues, to me, that's a moment where this guy has a similar posture throughout the entire interview, but he breaks that when he's asked a question that he has a lot of anxiety about because he knows the answer to those questions.
Yeah, and he's not going to say them, and he knows he's not going to say them.
Yep, but he deviated from his consistent behavior throughout this entire video, and that to me is more telling than anything he said.
Well, you heard Adam mention that they had stayed with Kayla's mother for a little bit after being evicted. And that is true. But before that, they were living in the Chrysler Sebring that they parked behind the Colonial Village apartments where their drug dealer, Anthony Bodero, lived. So Bodero testified that he had met Adam Montgomery in August of 2019. Bodero had needed a ride to court. He called someone he knew and asked for a ride. This person told Bodero that he couldn't give him a ride, but this person was with another friend, Adam, who would be able to give Anthony Bodero a ride to court. So Adam showed up to pick up Anthony Bodero with Kayla, their 2 sons, and Harmony. And Bodero testified that this was the first time he had met Harmony, and the second time and last time he saw her was about 3 to 4 weeks after that. So Anthony Bodero also testified that in 2019, he sold both Adam and Kayla Montgomery drugs.
How often would you sell the defendant and Kayla drugs?
Whenever I had any available.
How frequently was that?
Not frequent.
Were you actively selling drugs back then?
When I did have, yes.
And how would they pay you when they would purchase those drugs?
They would either pay me with cash or they would sell me food stamps.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean when you say they would sell you food stamps?
Well, I would give them half of whatever they gave me in food stamps.
Let me back up. What type of drugs were they buying from you back then?
Heroin and crack.
So this is what I was referring to earlier. We dealt with this every single day when we were in narcotics. You would have people who are getting food stamps through government assistance. Let's say they have $100 in food stamps. They would go to a drug dealer or even like some of our local like convenience stores, and there would be like a markup. Like you would, because they have the EBT card, right? So what they would do in those cases is you go up to the register, and it'd usually be the owner who's also running the register. They wouldn't buy anything, maybe like a stick of gum, just for like the camera purposes. But they would go up there and they would punch in $100, right? Like if he said, we're going to do $100, they would punch in $100 on the scanner. They would scan the card, and then in return, the store owner would give them back $60 in cash, right? So there's a $40 markup there where for the risk.
So the store owner's aware that this is happening and shouldn't be happening?
Stephanie, do you know how many times we hit stores that were doing this all the time? Like this was such a common thing.
How do the stores benefit from it, I guess?
Well, think about it, right? So someone comes in there, okay? They buy no product, right? They give them $100 towards on the EBT card, which is good as cash for them, right? And instead of giving them the full $100 back, they're only giving them $60 back. So they're making $40, and this is happening throughout the day.
So it's as good as cash to the store?
Oh yeah, when it's like that, it's like a debit card.
Okay.
It's an EBT card. It's just like a debit card where they're getting paid by. It's a government debit card essentially. Where back what he's talking about is actual food stamps.
There should be maybe like a different system where that can't happen.
It's
right?
difficult. Think about it. Like think about the oversight. How do you regulate what people are if they're doing this?
Well, I mean, if they're not buying anything, then there should be some sort of like.
But on the receipt, it would look like it. They'll punch in bananas and cereal and milk.
Okay.
But they're not actually. So they're charging them for goods, but they're getting to keep those goods.
They're charging them for goods they're not actually selling, so they get to sell them twice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they're getting to sell them twice. So our strategy, we went after the drug users, but my real focus was going after the actual stores.
The people who were being accomplices to this, yeah.
Right. The millionaires that were actually doing this and making a ton of money by doing it. Like the same thing was going on with baby formula. There was a lot of that, but this was happening all the time. But there was a point where the food stamps were paper and you could just hand it over to them. And like he's saying, and he didn't explain it that great, but they would give him $100 in food stamps, and in return, he would give them $50 in crack. Mm-hmm. So he's making $50.
Yeah.
On top of the money, he's charging them double for the heroin or the crack that would usually cost $50. And the risk is he then has to convert those food stamps, which he can do, pretty easily. So
yeah, then once again, he is able to sell his product twice.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. So this is important for many reasons because remember, Kayla said that they were using her money from work to buy drugs and the food stamps to provide for the children. But as it turns out, Kayla and Adam had no problem trading in these exact food stamps that were provided to them as a public assistance for heroin and crack. And additionally, it makes sense why Kayla was in such a hurry to add Harmony to her benefits in February of 2019 when Adam secured full custody. Now, once again, we talked about this earlier. Am I saying this was the motive or the reason of why Adam went after full custody of Harmony? I'm not saying it's the only reason, but I do believe it was one of the
contributing
reasons.
factor, passive income, absolutely.
Yeah. So in 2021, both Adam and Kayla told the police that Harmony had gone back to live with her mother, Crystal, in November of 2019, meaning she no longer lived with them and Harmony should have been removed from the family's benefits account. However, police and prosecutors have proved that Kayla and Adam continued collecting food stamp benefits for Harmony. And when Kayla was confronted with this in 2021, she claimed she had previously attempted to have Harmony removed, but she was unsuccessful. But police obtained DHHS case management records. Those records showed that Kayla had not requested or attempted to remove Harmony until June 2nd, 2021, more than a year and a half after Kayla claimed Harmony no longer lived with them, right? So Adam and Kayla get evicted from 77 Guilford Street. Anthony Bodero gave them permission to park their car behind the Colonial Park apartments where he lived, at which point he continues to sell them drugs, sometimes trading drugs for food stamps. Kayla testified that during the time they were staying behind the Colonial Park apartments, Anthony Bodero saw Harmony and the other two boys and would wave at them. She also said that Bodero brought them Thanksgiving leftovers while they were in the Sebring and that he saw Harmony at that time, and then he and Harmony waved at each other. But according to Anthony Bodero, this never happened, and he didn't even know where Adam, Kayla, and the kids and their car were between Thanksgiving and the time they showed up on his doorstep in early December. So this is where things start to become muddled, and you're like, is Anthony Bodero lying about knowing they were back there and seeing Harmony because he doesn't want to seem like an accomplice? Or was he in some way an accomplice, and that's why he's lying, and that's why he's like, I didn't even know they were back there, because, once again, they were definitely back there. It's because the search warrants were obtained from Facebook and Google, and location data from Google was consistent with the Montgomerys staying at the Colonial Village parking lot from approximately November 27th, which is when they got evicted, until December 8th of 2019.
He knew they were back there.
He knew they were back there, right?
100%. And listen, a drug dealer, you know your surroundings. You want to watch out for police. You're always looking for narcs. You're looking for surveillance vehicles. You're looking for other, rivals. That close in proximity, either it's from word of mouth or you're just driving by yourself, you're going to know they're back there. He was enabling them. He knew exactly what they were doing when they were coming in the house full of desperation, selling their kids food stamps for half the value because they can't exchange those food stamps for drugs. He knew he was taking food out of those kids' mouths, and he never stopped. He never even said at that point, hey, listen, man, I know the business I'm in, but I got a conscience. I can't be doing that. Nope. He gladly took the money for half the price of what the value was, and he took advantage of their addictions, for sure. He's a scumbag as well. No doubt about it.
Yeah, because even Anthony Bodero's girlfriend, who was living with him, were like, yeah, we brought them Thanksgiving leftovers.
Yeah,
like,
he knew.
Yeah, so he was like, I have no idea where they were staying until they showed up in the first week of December, but he knew. So why are you lying,
He knows, as much as he's trying to hide it, that indirectly he was contributing to the lack of food and the malnutrition that these kids were experiencing because he was enabling these parents to go and take the money that was intended for them and use it for something else. So
also, I think there's something to say that he knew Harmony was being abused because remember, from the time they start living in the car, Harmony's starting to have accidents. Adam's hitting her. She has black eyes and marks on her, and he's hiding her with a comfort whenever anyone sees her. But according to Kayla, Anthony Bodero would see Harmony and he would wave at her. So we can assume during that time after Thanksgiving and before December 7th, when the police believe Harmony was killed, that Anthony Bodero saw her with marks on her face because she wasn't hidden by a comforter when nobody else could see her. So I think there's an implication of that as well.
Yeah, no doubt. He's just trying to separate himself as much as he can. That's just what these guys all do, right?
Yeah.
What they're selling and what they're doing contributes to a lot of crime in the area that they're selling these drugs. And that's why it's so important to get these guys off the street, because it's not just the selling of drugs. It's the larcenies. It's the robberies. It's the sexual assaults. It's the child neglect. It's murder.
The domino effect. Yeah.
And they know they're just trying to separate themselves and compartmentalize what they do as like, hey, we just sell drugs. We're not involved in anything else.
So Kayla's mother, Christina Lubin, said that shortly after the eviction, Kayla called her and told her that they had a flat tire and they didn't have money to fix it.
I was leaving for the day, so I left them money in a cooler in my side hallway so that they could get their tire fixed.
You left the money in a cooler?
Yes.
Could you describe what did the cooler look like?
It was a red cooler with a white top that would flip open.
Now, this cooler is very important, which is why we're talking about it, so put a pin in that. Christina Lubin testified that she only met Harmony once, shortly after Thanksgiving of 2019, so around the time they got evicted. And she remembered Harmony with pigtails and glasses. She described her as adorable, quiet, and seemingly okay. But when Adam, Kayla, and the boys returned to Christina Lubin's home that December and stayed for about 2 weeks, Harmony was not with them. Now, this is a clip from an interview with Christina Lubin, which took place just 2 days after Adam Montgomery was arrested in 2021, or in 2022, actually. It would be early 2022. So he was arrested January 4th, 2022. And then Christina Lubin is talking to reporters outside of her home on the 6th.
It's just help. And she has made her choices, and that's all I can say. I'm just asking you, just for the children's sake, I do pray for Harmony, and I did have something come to me today for the police that I thought may help. Which I did tell the police I'm not going to give that out yet because I don't want to hinder it in any way. Just please.
When did you see Harmony?
I knew it was in the wintertime. I wasn't exactly sure when. And when I spoke with my daughter, she was telling me it was a day after Thanksgiving. Okay.
That last year in 2020 or 2020?
No, that was in 2019.
And did you ever ask your daughter where she was after that? That you never saw her again?
Well, she told me that because they came here the end of December during the holidays, and they were here briefly. I asked her, I'm like, well, I expected Harmony to do them, and they said no. And I know they've been kind of living on the streets and in a car kind of thing. And well, she didn't say no. She said she's with her mother, and I didn't question it because I didn't know until all the news, the history of the family. And Adam, for the first couple of years, was some sweet guy, and he's not. He is pure evil. He is pure evil. So I really, really hope the information that came to me today that can help in the search for Harmony. And that's really where my prayers are now, because my grandchildren will be with me, so I'm not going to be worried about them. And just please respect the privacy.
Yeah.
This is so scary for
Do you think
children.
Do you think Harmony's still alive?
I hope and pray she's still alive, but it's been 2 years, so I don't know.
You got to be heartbroken over this.
I'm distraught. My body's been shaking every couple hours because I can't get away from it. You know what I mean? I can't not check the news. I want to know what's going on, and I have spoken to police several times.
Do you think your daughter had any involvement in her disappearance?
Kayla told me that, just as in her affidavit, and I drilled my daughter, believe me, I asked, with her history, yeah, she used to be a liar. But I know how to get the truth out of my daughter. The youngest daughter, her daughter wasn't born yet, and Harmony was with him. He dropped her off at work, and he said to her, I am bringing Harmony to her mother. And then he came back later, I don't know how many hours, I don't know that. She was working at a Dunkin' Donuts. I've given all that information to the police, but Kayla said, where is he? She didn't say where she is, but I don't know. I'm so confused right now.
And when do you think that happened?
In my mind, from what I've tried to gather, and all the media has been great with trying to get all the information out there, and the social media I thought has been great too. But I think it happened like in a week period, and I think it happened from December 6th till prior to December 6th. So December 6th, anytime after Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving to December 6th. So it's like, there's the 30th of the month, so it's like 6 to 7 days. So I think something happened in that week, and I don't know what day. I asked the police if they checked my daughter's records, because my children are brought up where they have to tell the truth and they have to fess up. And my daughter has broken every time for me in the past. And I said to her, and I said to her, and I said to her, I said, are you sure? I said, what couple doesn't communicate about this and so forth? And I know those are the questions out there. My daughter does have a good heart, but I don't know what her part was on this, but I do believe her. She's staying very, very consistent in what she's saying. And I can tell by her, I'm her mom, you know, I can tell.
So that whole drop off, you're saying that's between Thanksgiving, December 6th?
Day after Thanksgiving and before December 6th.
2019.
Yes.
Okay.
And what's this significant at December 6th that makes that date stick in your head?
That day was reminded to me by my daughter because they were homeless and they needed a place to come. And I said, well, I don't really have a room, my landlord. So they were just here during the holiday, during that time frame.
You said Adam is the devil. Why do you say that?
He can sweet talk and swindle like he did with us for the 2 years. And then everything he points the finger at everybody else and talks up quite the storm. And it's a lot of, he talks like jail talk. That's all I can
What
say.
about abuse? The allegation yesterday was he was abusive towards Harmony.
I don't know about that.
This video here, the last one, I mean, I don't know how truthful she's being. Is she protecting herself? Is she protecting her daughter? I do think there's some
She's
truth.
protecting. She's trying to protect her. She's like, I'm usually pretty good at getting the truth out of her. And she says this is consistent. Well, we've come to find out, no, everything Kayla said at that time when Adam got arrested was a lie.
Yeah.
So,
and that could be some blind parental love. But one thing I will say for all the people who are on audio, I don't always say this. It's happened seldomly, but it has happened. This is one of those episodes, guys, where if you have an opportunity and you really want to be immersed in this case, when you get home after work or whatever, after listening to this, because a lot of you are listening it in the car or whatever, you got to go mark these timestamps and go watch the videos yourself, specifically Adam's interrogation, because the audio is really good in this. I'm hearing it in my headphones, but it will not do the same justice that the video does, having the physical mannerisms with the verbal comments they're making to kind of come to a true opinion on how you feel about the validity and the credibility of these people speaking. So I would strongly recommend that when you get home, go over to the YouTube channel, just fast forward to the timestamps where the videos are, because it adds a whole different layer to it than just hearing it.
Yeah, so at this point, this is, like I said, January 6th, 2021, after Adam's been, or January 26th, 2022, after Adam's been arrested.
Yeah, it's been over 2 years.
Christina's being asked questions and, I think Kayla's being honest. Like, I don't think she was involved, blah, 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 blah. That's just her protecting her daughter. You know very well. You know. Now, as it turns out, though, Christina was pretty accurate on the date of when Harmony was killed. But like I said, not so accurate when it came to the faith she had in her ability to get the truth out of her daughter, Kayla. So prosecutors believe, based on the timeline and based on Kayla Montgomery's testimony, that Harmony Montgomery was killed on December 7th, 2019. So let's go to that date, because Adam and Kayla interacted with several people around that time. We have Kimberly Frayne and Matthew Gendon, and both of these people worked with Kayla and Adam at Dunkin' Donuts in the past. As we know, Kimberly maintained her ties to Adam and Kayla after their work relationship ended because they used drugs together and remained friends. She's the one who had the gun stolen from her by Adam. Matthew Gendron was Facebook friends with Adam and Kayla through their joint account, and he would sometimes chat with them there. Both Kimberly and Matthew received urgent messages from Adam and Kayla just after midnight on December 8th, 2019. So Matthew received the first message at 12:13 a.m., and it was Adam telling him that their car battery had died. Quote, "Hey, we need help ASAP, please. Need a jump and jumper cables ASAP. My car died. We've been sleeping in our car, and the battery just died." End quote. So Matthew responded and he was like, "I don't have jumper cables." Then another message came in, and this time the person writing the messages identified herself as Kayla and asked Matthew if he could bring her to the store and get jumper cables. Quote, "I'll give you gas money. We will literally die tonight." End quote. Matthew replied again and he was like, "I just got home from work. I have to work early tomorrow. I don't even know what's open." The person who was allegedly Kayla wrote back that it was okay. She also didn't know what was open and she was sorry. And Matthew was like, "Yeah, I don't have cables and I don't know what's open." And then Kayla replied back, quote, "I think either if mobile don't have them, the only place is Amherst Walmart. So I know you need to get up early. Have a good night." End quote. And so Matthew responded like any of us would. "All right, have a good night." And that should have been the rest of it, the end of it. But then Kayla or Adam kept pushing. Quote, "I'm going to try. Can we die in this weather? We can't, right? We can just be really cold." End quote. They're trying to make him feel bad. It's like, Do you think we can die in this cold? Probably not, right? We'll just be really, really cold. And this was followed by another message, quote, hey, I'm at Colonial Village and Kimmy said she had jumper cables. End quote. And Matthew was like, great, Kimmy can jump you, Kimberly Frayne. But then the joint Kayla Adam Facebook account wrote back, well, Kimmy doesn't have her car, and so that's why I've been messaging everyone. So do you not want to do that? End quote. And Matthew was like, I don't really feel like running all over the place at this hour of the night. No, I really don't want to do this. So they're saying like, okay, so we got Kim and she's got jumper cables, but we still need a car because she doesn't have her car. She is half the equation of what we need. So can you still come to Colonial Apartments and help us with this? Now, the response that Matthew got to that was, quote, it's not our car, Matt. Our car died today. Our friend is letting us stay in his. It's all good, Matt. Don't worry about it. I just didn't want to freeze tonight, and I've messaged everyone else. No one has cables or no one has their cars, end quote. So here's Kimberly Frayne talking about her conversation with Adam Montgomery that night.
Did you ever bring Adam Montgomery jumper cables to try to start a car?
Yes.
What time was this? What time of morning was this that Adam reached out, or you got these messages asking for a jump?
It was in the middle of the night. I just remember that. It was late.
So did you go to where they were and give them a jump?
I did.
Where did you go?
It's behind Elm Street in, I think it's Colonial Apartments.
Okay. When you saw them, do you remember what kind of car they were in at that night?
Yeah, they were in a blue Audi.
So when you got there, who, if anybody, got into your car?
I pulled up and I don't remember the beginning, but I don't think I brought a jumper pack that my ex-husband had, and a Good Samaritan came by and him and Adam jump-started it, and Kayla jumped in my car with the two boys, and we just blasted the heat to keep them warm.
To keep them warm?
Yeah.
So you said it was Kayla and the two boys?
Two boys.
Okay. So I know you said before that you had babysat Harmony on one occasion. Was Harmony there with you? Did she get into the car as well with Kayla and the two boys?
No.
Did you see Harmony at all while you were there that night?
No.
Okay, so this is the early morning hours of December 8th. Police believe Harmony died on December 7th. So Kimberly Frayne says that when she went to the Colonial Park Apartments to give Adam Montgomery a jump, he, Kayla, and the two boys were in a blue Audi. But we know that before that, they'd been living in a silver Chrysler Sebring. So how did we get from one car to the other? Now, to understand that, we have to go to Kayla Montgomery's testimony, because according to her, on the same day that Harmony was killed, the Sebring broke down, and then a whole series of events followed. And this is kind of where the dominoes start falling. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode of Crime Weekly is brought to you by Wild Grain, which honestly is one of those things that makes you feel like you have your life together with very minimal effort. And Derek and I, whether we're going to pretend like we try to eat healthy, we only do that once in a while. Derek, probably more than me.
And Wild Grain has definitely helped me with that. It's good food, but you can see what you're eating, and it's a lot better than the processed foods you're going to get at fast food restaurants.
Yes, and this is my favorite category of product, the food thing, carbs. I love it. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas.
Yeah, bake from frozen is key there, because some of us are not planning dinners 3 days in advance, so this really helps that.
Some of us aren't even planning dinner 3 hours in advance.
Dude, listen, you said it. I was trying to give us a little leeway, but you're right.
What I love is that with Wild Grain, everything comes frozen, but it still tastes like something you picked up from an actual bakery. Their sourdough loaves are so good, and they use a 20-hour slow fermentation process, so you can really taste the quality, simple ingredients, and that slow fermentation can be easier on your stomach and richer in nutrients and antioxidants.
Yeah, and you don't have to thaw it first. Because when you think about it 3 minutes before you're supposed to eat, and then you realize you want to go with it, but now you have to thaw it out, it completely deters you. Not the case with Wild Grain.
And Wild Grain is fully customizable too. They have their variety box, gluten-free box, vegan box, and now the new protein box. So depending on what your house actually needs and what the people in it need, you can make it work for you. Imagine having fresh bakery quality bread, pastries, and pastas at home without any trips to the store. And don't just take our word for it, okay? We love it, but so do a lot of other people. They have over 40,000 five-star reviews, and they've been voted the best food subscription box by USA Today for 3 years in a row. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off your first box plus free croissants for life when you go to wildgrain.com/crimeweekly to start your subscription today. That's $30 off your first box and free croissants for life when you visit wildgrain.com/crimeweekly, or you can use our promo code crimeweekly at checkout. Easy as pie. Okay, we're back. So it appears that Harmony was still alive in the early morning hours of December 7th, 2019. That morning, both Kayla and Adam paid a visit to the methadone clinic. Now, I want to be very clear about something, because methadone treatment is supposed to help people stabilize during drug addiction, avoid withdrawals, reduce cravings, reduce illicit opioid use. It is technically a real evidence-based treatment for opioid use disorder. And when carefully managed by medical professionals and taken without other illicit substances, methadone is known to be highly effective, right? It's an FDA-approved medication to help those in recovery avoid relapse. However, it is still, at its face, a synthetic opioid. So when we're talking about Adam and Kayla, who we know were still actively using drugs and were doing nothing to stop and had no plans to stop, or to seriously pursue like rehabilitation, they were not using methadone for its intended purpose. Whenever they went to these clinics, they were in a place where they didn't have money for their actual drugs, and the use of the methadone was like a temporary bridge to get to a place where they would be okay until they were able to secure heroin, right? Because we know opioid addiction is intense. Over time, the brain and body physically reorganize themselves around that drug. And then if the use stops, a person will have really awful, horrendous withdrawal. Like opioid withdrawal is very bad. I've never been through it, but I've heard enough people describe it to know. Sweating, shaking, vomiting, diarrhea, pain, actual horrible pain, panic, insomnia, chills.
Oh, they feel like they're going to die.
They feel like they're going to die. Yeah. And a lot of people have said, like, once I got off, it was, I kept remembering that and didn't want to get back on. Like, that's why a lot of people who do actually become clean, they don't go back and use it again because they remember how bad that withdrawal was. So it's very bad. And for someone in deep active opioid addiction, the day can become a cycle of like getting high, coming down, getting sick, finding money, finding drugs, doing whatever it takes to stop the sickness from taking over. So that includes paying a visit to their local methadone clinic until they're able to secure what they actually want. So the methadone is a way to stay physically and mentally like with it, and not just like you said, feeling like they want to die until their next drug score. Now, I want to say that because I don't want anybody to be like, they were going to a methadone clinic, they were clearly trying to get help. No, if they're actively using drugs at the same time, it's just a bridge to avoid these horrible withdrawal symptoms. Now, according to Kayla Montgomery, Adam's abuse of Harmony started first thing in the morning.
You mentioned Harmony having accidents and then becoming more frequent at that point. On December 7th, was she still having those accidents?
Yes.
And had they increased in frequency?
Yes.
Did Harmony have an accident first thing in the morning?
Yes.
And that would have been before you started your day?
Yes.
And before you left for the methadone clinic, did Harmony have an accident?
Yes.
And what did the defendant do before you went to the methadone clinic? What did the defendant do to Harmony after that accident?
He was yelling and screaming at her and punching her in the head.
How did she react to that?
She was crying.
So then on the drive to the methadone clinic, Harmony was saying that she needed to use the bathroom again. And, after she'd already had an accident in the car. And evidently this enraged Adam. So Kayla and Adam went into the methadone clinic that day. They didn't go one by one like someone who would, want to make sure there was a person in the car with their 3 children. Kayla went in at 7:04 a.m. and Adam went in at 7:09 a.m. Kayla returned back to the car first, followed by Adam.
When Adam came back to the vehicle, he could smell urine, and he started yelling at Harmony and kept hitting her in the head repetitively.
Where were you when he smelt that accident? Where was the vehicle when he smelt that accident?
In front of the methadone clinic.
Did you discuss going somewhere with him at any point that morning? Going to get food?
Yes. I asked to go to Burger King.
You asked to go to Burger King?
Yes.
And so at some point, did he begin driving the vehicle?
Yes.
Was that before or after he repeatedly struck Harmony?
After.
What was Harmony doing at that point when he started driving the vehicle?
She was crying a lot.
She was crying a lot?
Yeah. And she was making a weird noise.
Was she saying anything?
No.
And Kayla, I want you to walk the jurors through in as much detail as you can what happened on your route from Habit Opco to that Burger King.
Adam was getting really angry from Harmony peeing in the car, and he repetitively kept punching her on the way to Burger King, and there were a couple red lights, and when we were at red lights he would go over the driver's seat, like in between the passenger seat, and he was just punching her repetitively in the head.
And you've said there were several times where he punched her repetitively in the head.
Yes.
How many times did he hit her?
I can't count. I don't know.
Were you counting?
No, I wasn't.
How many lights did that car come to where he repetitively struck her?
At least 2 or 3.
Between Habit Opco and the Burger King, did the defendant say anything to Harmony?
Told her to shut the fuck up. Stop crying.
You said she was making a weird noise.
Yes.
Can you describe it?
It was like, I can't even describe it. It was like a moaning kind of noise, but crying. It was just weird. I can't explain it.
Did you try to help Harmony while he was striking her?
Yes.
Tell the jurors what you did to help, to try to help.
I put my arm up and said to stop, but he looked at me and he gave me this look that was like evil. His crazy eyes. I didn't like it, and I couldn't stop him from hitting her, because the look that he gave me was scary. I was scared.
What were you feeling when he looked at you like that?
Like he was either gonna hit me or just, I don't know. It was weird. And that was like one of the first times that I've seen him look at me like that.
Was it the last time you saw him look at you like that?
No.
You said that Harmony's crying. She's making this weird noise.
Yeah.
Where was she in the vehicle?
She was behind the passenger seat.
And who was in front of her in that car?
I was.
You described the defendant almost coming over the seat.
Yes.
Was he still driving at that point?
Kind of. Between the red lights, and it was definitely at the red lights. I remember that.
How was he striking her?
By punching her in the head.
Where were your other 2 children at that time?
In the back seat.
And what were they doing?
They had no idea what was going on.
How old were they?
Seamus was about 2.5, and Declan was 11 months old.
Did you look back at Harmony at any point?
No.
Why not?
Because I was scared.
What were you scared of?
If Adam was going to say something, or if he hurt her really bad, it was going to look really bad.
You were scared of what Harmony would look like? Did he stop after that?
Shortly after that,
Did he say anything to you when he stopped?
he said he thinks that he really hurt her. And he felt something.
When he said that he thinks he really hurt her, where was the vehicle at that point?
At Burger King?
At the Burger King?
Yes.
And what did the defendant do after he stopped hitting Harmony, after he said, I think I really hurt her?
Nothing.
Did you order food from Burger King?
Yes.
Did you go through the drive-thru?
Yes.
And so who ordered the food?
Adam did.
And what did you do with the food that he had ordered?
Ate it, gave some to the kids.
Did you see Harmony when you were giving them food?
No,
Why not?
because she was under the blanket.
Who put her under the blanket?
Adam.
So, Stephanie, I have a really stupid question for you because I'm new to this whole crime thing and I need you to give me some insight here. Do you think that the jury members convicted Adam because of a previous assault involving her black eye? Or do you think maybe, just maybe, this statement right here of what actually happened on that particular occasion, on during this particular assault, do you think that maybe that played a factor in them convicting him?
We have a lot to say. And I personally, being on the jury, no, we know it's a technicality. You know, every single person on that jury right now is pissed off that this decision happened.
I'm pissed as a taxpayer that now this guy gets another day of trial, that we have to go through this whole process again because he's going to be found guilty.
They're going to say Kayla's not a reliable narrator, whatever. We have reasons, and we're going to talk about that, but I want everyone to understand what happened here. This demon, Adam Montgomery, beats his 5-year-old daughter relentlessly, okay? She starts to cry and make a sound that Kayla Montgomery's a stupid bitch, described as never hearing before from Harmony, a sound she described as being weird. Yeah. And then from the methadone clinic to Burger King, which would be a 7 to 12 minute drive, depending on
not bad enough for her
traffic.
to lose her appetite, though. But okay.
No, exactly.
Oh, whatever.
A 7 to 12 minute drive from the methadone clinic to Burger King. Adam told Harmony to shut up at each red light. He reached back and continued to repeatedly punch her in the head. Kayla tried to stop. She put her hand out, but then she got scared.
Right.
Because he gave a look.
What could you have done there? Maybe, I don't know. As a mother, get him out of the car?
Well, especially when you're parked at Burger King, but okay. Then they get to Burger King, and Adam tells Kayla he thinks he really hurt Harmony this time. What do you think Kayla or Adam did? Well, they didn't check on Harmony. Instead of getting Harmony help, Adam covered Harmony with a comforter and then pulled through the Burger King drive-thru and ordered food. And then once they had their food, did they check on Harmony? No, they sat in the car, the very same car where Harmony was laying in the backseat under a comforter, dying alone. And they all ate their French fries and chicken nuggets while Harmony died under that blanket.
Yeah.
And it gets worse because after leaving Burger King, neither Adam nor Kayla made an attempt to check on Harmony or get her medical attention. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, I want to ask you, listen, yes, this is Kayla Montgomery's version of events. I know she seems upset, right? She does seem upset. She's crying.
Well, she watched a child be murdered in front of her. So, yeah.
This is upsetting. Exactly. But is she crying? Because I think there's things she's saying that isn't true here. Like, I did try to stop. Bullshit. I don't believe you. And I think there's also things she's saying that are true. Like, why were you worried? And she said, I was worried because of like how it was going to look if he really did hurt her. Like, how was it going to look? She never at any point says she's worried about Harmony, that she's like, oh my God, is Harmony okay? She's like, well, if he really did hurt her, if Adam really did hurt Harmony, how is it going to look? That's what Kayla was worried about in that moment. And then even then on the stand, right? She was never like, oh my God, I was like, I couldn't eat. I couldn't even eat my Burger King because I was so worried about what. No, y'all sat there, you passed French fries back to your other kids while Harmony laid under the blanket and died alone. Hearing you guys sit there and eat around her. You both deserve to be in prison for life and you both deserve to burn in hell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but what it sounds like. And if you look at the video, again, why it's so important, Adam appears to be a pretty stocky guy. right? He's not tiny. He's got big forearms. You could see it. I mean, he's a decent sized guy. I don't know if he's tall or not.
And this is a guy who's like consistently using drugs and probably not in the gym. So this is a natural sort of like physique.
And he's probably been in a fight or two in a tough neighborhood. Massachusetts kid, probably can fight, you know, and he's punching this young girl in the head. More than likely, again, not a doctor, probably fractured her skull, severe, significant brain damage. And yeah, she died from that. I could sit here and repeat everything you just said. You basically said it. If she really wanted to help and she really thought something was wrong, she could have easily taken Harmony and the other kids to the police and said, listen, I have my problems. I'm going through some substance abuse issues right now, but they're, you know, and I'm using food stamps for things they shouldn't be used for. But there's even in my world something where I draw the line.
But this is a line I draw. I have a code.
You know, I draw the line here, and I won't stand by and watch a young child be beaten. Even if that means, you know what, when I put my hand up, I would rather him beat me than her. That's the motherly instinct that should kick in at that moment, even though it's not her child. There are plenty of mothers out there that would say, hey, turn your attention on me, slap me around, leave the kid alone. She didn't do that.
Or if you're scared, you say, okay, in your head, you're like, when we get to Burger King, I'm going to pretend I have to get something out of the back seat. I'm going to grab Harmony. I'm going to run and scream for help. I'm going to run right into Burger King and scream for help and tell them to call the police.
And there's so much more to this. This is not the first time that he's done this. So there have been multiple occasions, probably 10 to 20 different occasions, maybe more, where she had the opportunity to act on any of those occasions, get her out of that situation. She never did. So this was just the last time it occurred.
But even if this was the last time and you were like, okay, enough is enough. He said he really thinks he hurt her. I've got to do something. Even then you would still have a little bit of redemption.
Yeah.
But you sat there and ate
you didn't do
your
anything.
chicken nuggets and your french fries.
Yeah.
I have no pity for you, woman.
And that's what he felt too, right? He felt the broken bone more than likely. But you have Kayla. She's a scumbag. Obviously, Adam's the biggest offender here. He's a monster. And the only silver lining in all of this is he's going to get convicted again. And you mentioned code. And we've talked about this before. And you've seen it in the headlines lately. Unfortunately for Adam, when he goes to General Pop, there is a code in prison as well. And when they hear... When they hear Kayla's statement, this statement that you guys just heard, it's not going to be good for Adam.
And we can only hope, yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Okay, but like I said, it gets worse. They leave the Burger King. They drive back to the Colonial Village apartments. And do you think they check on Harmony there? No, they don't.
Was Harmony still under the blanket when you arrived at Colonial Village?
Yes.
And that moaning that you mentioned, that weird noise that she was making, was she still making it?
No.
How long did that noise that she was making last?
I don't remember. It wasn't... I don't remember. I don't remember if it was too long. I don't remember if it was after we were at Colonial Village for a little bit, or if it was before.
But that moaning, did it eventually stop?
Yes.
Did you check on Harmony at any point after the moaning stopped?
No.
Did Adam?
No.
Why didn't you check on her?
Because I was scared.
When you arrived at the Colonial Village parking lot, when you arrived back there, what did you and the defendant do?
We got drugs and got high.
When you say we got drugs and got high, what drugs did you get, Kayla?
Heroin and crack.
And how long did you use those drugs for in that parking lot?
We were there for probably 10 or 15 minutes.
Wow, priorities, right? And this is something I'm sure there's a lot of people who are watching or listening to this episode right now who have had their own demons, their own battles, who have gone through substance abuse issues or alcohol issues where they did some things or made some bad decisions that they regret, but they can go back and say, I wasn't in the right state of mind, right? But there is also some level of humanity still there. And you can have issues with drugs or alcohol and still acknowledge that before maybe using again, check on the kid.
Well, they didn't. Yeah, they just didn't. So.
Right. That's just decent. This is basic humanity. And that is why we're giving Kayla such a hard time, because two things can be true. You can be going through an issue with substance abuse and yet still have common sense.
No, she was too scared.
No, she didn't want to see the truth because she knows she was indirectly a contributor to all of this.
I would say directly, but sure.
Yeah, and so that's a problem. It's a problem, and it just shows the people that we're dealing with, because you have Harmony passing away underneath that blanket, but then yet priorities, right? Priorities is to get the next high.
After doing their drugs, Kayla and Adam, with Harmony's body in the car still under the comforter and their 2 sons sitting in the back seat with the body of their sister, they left again. But they only made it to the stoplight on the next street when their car died and wouldn't start again. And some people might say this is karma, because they've been driving around in this car forever. For 2 weeks, they've been homeless, living in this car. And the second that Harmony's dead and something could possibly catch them up, the car dies, right? The battery died. So Kayla believes this happened around 8 or 9 a.m. According to the Manchester Police Department records, the Chrysler Sebring was broken down at the intersection of Elm Street and Webster Street at approximately 12:11 p.m. Now, I don't think that she was right with her 8 or 9 a.m. time, but I also know that 12:11 wasn't the time the car broke down. It's the time that the tow company was called. So according to Kayla, it wasn't until the car broke down that she and Adam realized that Harmony was dead.
And there was no jumping the vehicle, and so we ended up having to leave it. And when we were getting out of the car and getting the kids out of the car, Harmony had passed away.
Let's talk about that. When you say Harmony had passed away, when did you realize that Harmony had passed away?
When Adam was trying to wake her up and she didn't reply or anything.
Was he saying things to her to try to wake her up?
Yeah, he said Harmony, and he kept saying baby girl, like, and trying to budge her, and there was nothing.
Was he touching her?
Yes.
What was he doing to her body at that point?
Trying to figure out what to do, and getting all the kids out of the car. He took the duffel bag that was in the trunk, and put her in the duffel bag.
Did you see him put Harmony in that duffel bag?
Yes.
How did he put her in there, Kayla?
He, like, folded her in half and put her in the duffel bag.
What did her face look like when you saw her go into that bag?
It was all black and blue, and her face was puffy, her eyes were puffy. We took the kids and we walked back to Colonial Village.
What did you do once you arrived at Colonial Village?
Put the bag in the snowbank so Anthony wouldn't see it.
I'm sorry, so that who wouldn't see it, Kayla?
Anthony.
There you go, right? There you go. You have not only the murder, but you have at least the first part, and we're just getting started with this, how they attempted to discard her body. I will say I'm fascinated in this part because we know up to this point, Harmony has never been found. So I'm really trying, the detective in me wants to identify where the link in that chain is and see what can be done now. But anyways, I digress. That's where I'm at. That's where my head's at right now. We can't save Harmony, but we can even solidify this case even more if we're able to find her and bring her back and have her have a proper burial compared to what she was given. Obviously not deserved.
So yeah, Kayla sees Adam fold Harmony's body in half and shove it into like a gym duffel bag. They walk back to the apartment complex with Harmony in the duffel bag. And they put Harmony's body in the duffel bag in a snowbank so that Anthony Bodero wouldn't see it. And that's where Anthony Bodero comes back in. Once again, according to him, he had no idea the Montgomery family was living out of their car behind his apartment complex. According to him, it was this day, December 7th, when he first saw them and they told him that they had no place to live and their car had broken down. And Bodero had a 2004 blue Audi S4 that had been sitting at his in-laws' place for 2 years because he couldn't get it to start. And so he told Adam Montgomery that he and his family could stay in the car for a few days.
Well, the reason I had them stay in the vehicle is because I was living with somebody else that it was their apartment, and there was no room for them to be there. So the only choice I had was to let them stay in my vehicle.
And Mr. Bodero, who stayed in your vehicle?
Adam, Kayla, and the 2 boys.
Earlier you mentioned Adam's third child, Harmony.
Yes.
Where was Harmony during that time where you let them stay in their vehicle, in your vehicle?
I do not know.
Was she with them?
No.
So now listen, if you hear Anthony Bodero tell it, he barely knew these people, right? There's more to his testimony. He's like, I barely knew them, right? They weren't friends. I hardly ever saw them, maybe a handful of times. And during the time they were living in his car, once again, they're living in his car, and now he knows they're behind his apartment complex. He said he barely saw them. He was confronted with messages between himself and Adam showing that Bodero had actually given Kayla and Adam rides, including to the methadone clinic during this time. But understand, Anthony Bodero has no idea what's going on, and he barely knew these people at all. He didn't know they were living in their car behind his apartment complex for weeks. He didn't know what they were doing when they were living in his car. They were barely acquaintances. But according to Kayla's testimony, it was Anthony Bodero who gave Adam a ride back to their car, the Sebring, so that they could get their stuff out of it. And by the time they got there, the car was already being towed. And the tow truck driver was like, yeah, I didn't see Kayla. I didn't see kids. I saw 2 men and they were getting stuff out of the car. So Anthony Bodero's giving Adam a ride back to the Sebring and then also letting him live in his car behind his apartment complex. Barely knows these people. Okay. Now, later in 2022, when that car was searched, the Sebring, investigators did not find obvious visible blood in the Chrysler, and there does not appear to have been confirmed blood evidence tying Harmony to the car. They did use Blue Star in the trunk, which produced 4 presumptive positive reactions that were swabbed, but the strongest physical evidence recovered from the Chrysler Sebring was Harmony's pink Trolls toothbrush found in the trunk underneath some clothes. Forensic biologist from New Hampshire State Police Forensic Lab, Katie Swango, tested the toothbrush and showed it was most likely from the female child of Adam Montgomery and Crystal Sorey. And Adam and Crystal don't have another female child other than Harmony. They don't have any other biological children together. So there are a few reasons that blood would possibly not be found in this car, the car where Kayla said Adam beat Harmony to death. First, the type of injury Kayla described may not have necessarily left a lot of blood in the car. Harmony's body has never been found, so there was never an autopsy done, and we can't say for sure. But if Harmony was repeatedly punched in the head, the fatal injury could have been internal trauma, like a brain injury, swelling, and bleeding inside of the skull, etc., as you had mentioned earlier, Derek.
Yep.
Also, Kayla said that when she saw Harmony's face, it was bruised looking and swelling, but she did not say that she saw blood. We heard her testify to that. Kayla did also say that she saw Harmony's nose bleeding, which would later allow Adam's defense team to make the where's the blood argument. But a nosebleed doesn't always mean that there would be a large, durable stain left years later, especially if it was, wiped away or absorbed by clothing or blankets. Yeah. And as we know, Harmony was covered with a large comforter that was always on hand for her to be hidden by it. On that same note, the car was not recovered or processed right away. Investigators recovered the Chrysler from a junkyard more than 2 years after Harmony was killed, and by then the vehicle was in terrible condition, missing parts, filled with other auto debris. We have photos of this that we'll have Shannon put up. So the passage of time does matter in this situation. The car had been towed, stored, moved, exposed to changing conditions, potentially handled by multiple people, and then even partially stripped. So even if biological material had been present in 2019, the scene that investigators eventually processed was by far not anywhere close to being a fresh crime scene anymore, and so much had happened to the car. And if this injury happened and Adam immediately covered Harmony with the comforter, as we know he did when they went into the drive-thru for Burger King, it's likely that most of that blood ended up on the comforter, which also conveniently has never been found. So
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at more than likely significant internal injuries, not necessarily unless he split her skin during the assault, which is possible. But as you mentioned, she was covered with the blanket, which would have absorbed any blood. And even if they found a small amount of blood in the car, the argument could be made, if I'm a defense attorney, like, yeah, we were living in the car, she may have cut herself. You would have to find evidence of a large pooling of blood, where we've seen in other cases where experts are able to say, with this amount of blood, the evidence of this amount of blood, it would lead us to believe that the injuries would have resulted in death if not medically treated. So it would take a lot of blood to have it be impactful. And with the blue star, that's obviously luminol. You're hoping under an alternate light source, like a black light or something, that you would see the glowing in almost complete darkness. They also could have used what's known as LCV, which is essentially something that's used for photography, where under normal lighting conditions, you can spray this stuff. It'll permanently dye anything that's blood, and then you can take photos of it to represent that at court. So clearly they made an attempt, but you could, for all the reasons you just laid out, plus the fact that there may not have been a significant amount of blood, it was kind of a dead end.
yeah, and listen, I'm not saying by any means that there wasn't a bloody nose. There probably was a bloody nose. But when you look at the pictures of the car, what it looked like when they finally got it and were able to process it, like,
yeah,
it's been pulled apart. There's like random other car parts in the trunk. It's just, it would be very difficult. And that should not be something that the defense can use to get away with, like, oh, well, where's the blood then?
There's a lot of times where people get significant injuries even in a car accident, where they look normal. Just looking on the outside, they may have some bruising and some red spots, but they're bleeding internally and you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening. You have a brain bleed at this point with Harmony, and that not necessarily translates to blood all over the car.
Yeah, but like Kayla said, her face was puffy. It was swollen.
She was internally
when
bleeding.
She saw Harmony. So we're still focused on December 7th, 2019. Adam, Kayla, and their two sons are now living in Anthony Bodero's Audi for a few days. And Kayla said that Harmony's body would be consistently moved during that time. It was either in the snowbank by the dumpster, which, by the way, was right next to the parking lot. Like, this isn't, I looked up pictures. You know how apartment complexes, they have like the dumpsters. Yeah. They're right next to the parking lot. So this wasn't some big hidden area, but she's in the duffel bag. So it's either in the snowbank by the dumpster or it was in the trunk of the Audi. So Adam moved the duffel bag from the trunk to the snow periodically because it was cold outside, and that would prevent the body from decomposing as quickly.
Smelling, all that stuff, yeah.
So the night of December 7th, Adam, Kayla, and the kids were in the Audi when the battery died. So now their battery dies earlier that day in their first car, and now the battery dies in this car that they're in. And you know there's something in the universe that's trying to get these idiots caught. But the battery dies in the Audi. That's when they start making these panicked calls and texts to people they knew trying to get a jump. Kimberly Frayne and a Good Samaritan helped get the car back on that night. It's worth noting that Kayla Montgomery repeatedly claims she did not help Harmony, that she did not say anything, okay, or alert someone. She says she didn't do anything because she was scared of Adam. She was scared. She said she was afraid of Adam, afraid of what he would do, afraid to interfere, afraid to go to the police. And maybe some of that fear was real. I'm not going to say it wasn't. But fear can't be the whole answer at this point, because there were moments when other people were around. There were messages sent. There were people helping them. Remember, Kimberly Frayne came with jumper cables. And then she said Kayla and the kids got in her car, not Adam. Adam was out there helping the Good Samaritan get the Audi started, right? Kayla's in the car with Kimberly Frayne and the kids alone. No Adam. She could have said, Kimberly, call the police. Send them here. I can't say too much. I don't want them to know. Send the police. Harmony's dead. You didn't do that, okay? Then, you know, the Good Samaritan's there helping. Kayla could have said something to him, could have said something to Anthony Bodero. She could have at any time pulled someone aside and said, please call 911. He killed Harmony. Help me and my children get away from him. Because now, don't you think like, oh, if he's going to do that to Harmony, isn't it possible he'd do that to one of my children?
There's no doubt he was also abusing those other kids.
Yeah,
no
even
doubt.
if it's just like self-preservation that makes you alert somebody, the self-preservation to protect yourself and your own children who you see as blood related to you, and Harmony's not your blood related child, whatever. Even if it's that motive, you didn't even want to save your own two children, and then you want to have another child with him after this, by the way? Okay. So Kayla did not do any of that, and that is where her explanation starts to break down for me. Maybe she was scared, maybe she was high, maybe she was dependent on Adam for drugs, transportation, shelter, survival. Maybe she was protecting herself because she already knew that she'd crossed lines she could never uncross, even by that point, that even if she went to the police, Adam could say, well, Kayla actually did this to Harmony, and Kayla helped me abuse Harmony, and Kayla helped me do this to Harmony, and he'd be right. And then now she's looking just as bad as he is. Yeah, maybe she didn't beat Harmony to death, but maybe she took part in the abuse and the neglect, which I think without a doubt she did. Because remember, Uncle Kevin said that he'd heard Kayla call Harmony names, like say, you're disgusting, this, and that. So when Kayla's like, oh, Adam would get mad when Harmony would have accidents in the car, so would you. I guarantee you took part in all of that yelling at her and berating her. And probably when she got back in the car after the methadone clinic and Harmony had another accident, she was probably like, oh, wait till your dad gets in here. Wait till your dad gets in here. He's going to beat your ass. I guarantee you, Kayla did not get help, not because she was like scared of Adam, but because she was scared of how she would be implicated when an investigation was done.
Yeah, now she's tied to her. Her inaction can be criminal in nature. There's no doubt about it. She didn't intervene at all. And she had an obligation at that point to do so.
Yeah, we can just say without a doubt, Kayla was not a woman who knew nothing and had no choices.
Right. Multiple opportunities to remove herself and her children from that situation. And she may have been scared, but that's when you call the police.
Yeah, and she kept it going, right? She stays with Adam and you're going to hear, for a long time after this, while they go around from place to place, bringing Harmony's body with them.
And why do you think she stayed with him, Stephanie?
I think it was because she was like, well, he's getting me drugs.
That's it. That's it right there.
That's absolutely disgusting. And she helped conceal the truth. Even years later, remember, Adam was nowhere physically around Kayla. He was off sleeping in some car with some other woman. And the police go to Kayla and they're like, what's happening here? Kayla still lied. She lied about when she had last seen Harmony, where she had last seen Harmony. She lied about not knowing what happened to Harmony. She continued receiving financial benefits for Harmony long after she knew Harmony was not alive. She testified in front of a grand jury and later had to plead guilty to 2 felony counts of perjury because she lied during that testimony. For nearly 2 years, Kayla helped maintain the fiction that Harmony was somewhere else, when according to her own later testimony, she knew Harmony was dead. So you're not seeing her testify like right after the cops come and find her. She continues lying to the cops in front of a grand jury in all her official statements. Harmony's with her mother. Adam told me he was bringing Harmony to her mother. That's all I know. That's what she said. So this is not somebody who we can say was afraid of Adam, because this is at a time when Adam's gone, not physically near you. Why are you still lying?
Yeah, no, she definitely has a major role in this, and you're talking about obstruction, impeding investigation, tampering with evidence. Those are just the start. I mean, I'm sure if a prosecutor got behind this, they could tell you a few more, but I think, and I don't even know where this goes. I don't even know. Well, maybe you can say it right now. Was Kayla charged as well? In exchange for her testimony, she was given to me. Okay. So and I will say this, it sucks. It sucks that you have to do this, but without her testimony, I don't know if you get a conviction of Adam.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to. This
is damning, right? What we're seeing here, this is everything. So, I think at this point, without this, you don't have much.
But I want to be clear. I think you're on the same page as me. We don't think that what Kayla is saying is a lie about what happened to Harmony.
Oh no, I believe it.
She clearly saw something, and she clearly saw this. The way she's retelling the story now, when she lies and says, "I don't know how long the noises went on for. I can't remember." I don't believe that. Once again, trying to make herself look better in the situation because she was there.
Right.
But what the version of events she described, I believe absolutely happened. And I don't believe that Kayla was the one who killed Harmony or beat her in the car that day.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so after living in Anthony Bodero's Audi for 2 nights, Adam and Kayla, along with their 2 sons, went to live with Kayla's aunt, Kimberly Simmons, who lived on South Main Street in Manchester. Now, they really didn't go to live there. They went there because they wanted to have the aunt convince Kayla's mother to let them live with her. So Kayla said that when they got to her aunt's place, Adam placed the duffel bag holding Harmony's body inside of it under their porch. So Kayla said they were only there for a few hours because their intention was to have Kimberly call Kayla's mother, Christina Lubin, and convince her to let them stay there. Now, Christina ended up agreeing. She went to pick them up in her van, a van that Adam loaded the duffel bag into. Obviously, Christina has no idea of this at this point, I would assume. I will give her the benefit of the doubt in that because Christina's not Kayla. I'm sure she didn't know.
No, and seeing that interview, I mean, I'm judging it with very little
context.
Yeah, very little context and also a small sample size. But she sounds, God bless her soul for this, but she just sounds like she's kind of out there and she's not really completely aware of everything that's going on around her.
She sounds like she wants to protect her daughter while still having Harmony have justice, right?
Yeah, and also try to protect herself, because I'm sure a lot of people are looking at her like, what were you doing? And rightfully so. So I agree with you, though.
But remember, Christina also called CPS, during the time that Uncle Kevin was calling too. So she clearly had her concerns.
But I agree with you. I don't think she knew, oh, that duffel bag has Harmony in it. But you would think at that point she might have said, where's Harmony? I don't know.
She said she did, and that Kayla and Adam told her Harmony was with her mom,
right.
Crystal.
Sure.
So Adam and Kayla and the kids stayed with Christina Lubin for roughly 2 weeks until December 29th. Kayla said that when they arrived at her mother's residence on Dubuque Street, Adam removed the duffel bag from the van and kept it in the same cooler that Christina Lubin had left money for them in not long before. Remember that flat tire?
Yep.
So Christina left money in the cooler and was like, it's in the cooler. Kayla knew where the cooler was because this was a red cooler with a white top that Christina had had for a while, and she would sometimes leave money in there for Kayla because of where the cooler was located, which was not inside the apartment, so Christina could leave money in there when she wasn't home. The cooler would be kept in a hallway outside of the apartment that was a common area for all the units in that building. So this is where Harmony's body is during this time period that they're staying with Christina. So on December 30th, Kayla and Adam, along with their 2 sons, relocated again, this time to a families in transition shelter on Lake Ave in Manchester, where they would remain for about a month and a half.
When you moved to the fit shelter, where was Harmony's body?
Adam put her in the ceiling, in the vent of the room that we stayed in. He used the bunk bed and climbed up in the ceiling. The vent above the bed, Adam moved it so he could go in the ceiling.
Now, did you ever touch that vent, Kayla?
No. You could smell a horrible smell that was coming through the vents.
Do you remember that horrible smell?
Yes.
Did maintenance come at some point while you were living there because of that smell?
Yes.
And what happened when those maintenance workers came?
Adam took her back down from out of the ceiling and brought the bag in the bathroom.
And what happened when Adam brought Harmony down from the ceiling?
She was starting to smell and there was fluid leaking.
And did you see the fluid?
No, I didn't see it.
How do you know about the fluid that was leaking?
Adam said that.
What did he say?
He said that there was blood up in the ceiling and fluid.
And so what did he do with that duffel bag containing Harmony?
He put her in a trash bag.
What did he put those garbage bags into, if anything?
He put the garbage bags inside that bag.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this, that again, I don't know where the story is going as far as the last point that we know Harmony was, but when you have a dead body, even if it's only a couple hours, your body kind of relaxes and it releases a lot of gases and liquids, and it's very often, it doesn't even have to be blood, but you can have like mucus and bodily fluids that just come out of you, and your body basically starts to, I guess the word I'm looking for is liquefy to a certain degree. Like any fluids that you have built up in you, including the blood, will start to there's no longer a system in place to keep that in check. And so I would imagine in that vent area, after the fact, law enforcement were able to go up there and swab and probably find remnants of a decomposing body, whether it's the fluids or any type of skin cells or something like that. They might be able to find something up there to prove that at one point there was a body up there, I would think.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to clarify, when Kayla refers to that bag, she's referring to a CMC tote bag. It's like a tote bag from a hospital maternity ward. And I want you to understand that this canvas tote, which, first of all, canvas isn't like a...
No, it's not waterproof.
It's not a forgiving material. It's not stretchy. This canvas tote was about 12 inches wide and about 10 to 11 inches tall. Just a medium-sized bag, not a big bag. And she's saying that Adam put Harmony's body into that tote bag.
Stephanie, if I'm interpreting this correctly, and I'm sure there's photos out there, when you described the cooler, I'm thinking of a cooler you would bring to a sporting event or a campsite. I'm not thinking of like a freezer where you keep all the meat. Think about how small the internal compartment.
Just like an igloo cooler.
Yeah. How small is that compartment of that cooler with the insulation to keep the ice in there from melting? Very tiny. It was running through my head as you were saying it, like that red and white cooler. You see them all the time at convenience stores and Target and all that. This is extremely small. Now, her body would naturally shrink due to decomposition, so that would help with that. But still, just a horrific image to think about.
To imagine what Adam would have had to have done, though, to get her body into that bag.
Trust me,
okay, and
you don't
knowing
want to know.
that's his daughter, it's just absolutely horrendous.
Adam squished her into the bag.
Is this similar to that CMC bag?
Yes.
Is it in fact identical to that CMC bag?
Yes.
So the defendant put Harmony into garbage bags and he squished her into a bag like this one?
Yes.
And this again was at the families in transition shelter?
Yes.
Where did he do that to her?
In the bathroom of the room that we stayed in.
Did she fill that bag, that CMC bag that you just saw?
Yes.
Her body filled that bag?
Yes.
And what did he do with the bag after he put her in there?
He put her back in the ceiling.
Tell you, Kayla has a lot of details for not being involved.
No, she was involved. She sat there and watched all of it happen.
Yeah, she knows a lot. She knows a lot for kind of trying to separate herself. And
so I will say they never did recover this exact tote bag that Kayla describes Adam using. But investigators did go to the Fit shelter where Kayla claims this happened, and they found evidence there. So forensics located a prominent, deep, dark-colored stain on the top side of the ceiling sheetrock right next to the vent opening. Testing confirmed that this stain was caused by blood and bodily decomposition fluid that had leaked through the duffel bag. State lab DNA expert Alan Aykroyd-Isailes testified that testing on the ceiling components resulted in an extremely high probability match to Harmony Montgomery. Harmony's DNA was also extracted from the metal ceiling joists and railings supporting the suspended ceiling where the duffel bag had rested. A latent fingerprint examiner testified that he successfully recovered Adam Montgomery's fingerprints and palm prints directly on the metal framing and surrounding area of the ceiling vent. So this physically placed Adam's hands inside the ceiling cavity where Harmony's remains were hidden. Forensics isolated 10 distinct usable prints on the metal vent and surrounding framework. 9 of those prints were positively matched to Adam. The 10th print belonged to a drywall contractor who had renovated the shelter, that room specifically, years prior. Now, additionally, when Manchester police detectives removed the vent cover and pulled the metal framing apart in June of 2022, they noted a heavy, pungent, rotted smell, still there that many years later. Detective Ray Lamy and Officer Riley Scott both testified that the smell was instantly recognizable to them as human decomposition. This odor was so potent during the crime that shelter staff records showed work orders were submitted regarding a foul smell in the room while the family lived there. Adam's defense team would try to blame Kayla. They would float this alternate timeline where Harmony died in the car on the morning of December 7th while Adam was away from the car. However, the complete absence of Kayla's prints inside the ceiling, and pair that with Kayla's specific testimony that Adam was the sole person who physically climbed up and handled the vent and shoved the duffel bag inside the ceiling, it makes it difficult to believe, right?
Yeah, it gives her some credibility, at least in that sense, that what she's saying, there's validity to what her statement.
Yeah, so some people are like, well, Adam, like, why would you be up there hiding your daughter's body if this woman just killed your daughter who was so beloved to you and who you wanted to protect? So Adam's lawyers countered this. They admitted that their client did horrible things to help Kayla cover up Harmony's death, but he only did it because he was trying to protect her and keep his family together. Like, I lost one child and now I have to try to keep the rest of my family together. Obviously, the jury did not buy it, right? However, since the New Hampshire Supreme Court threw out Adam's murder conviction on a technicality regarding how the charges were grouped, Adam's defense team is definitely preparing to use this exact Kayla did it strategy as their primary weapon if and when the state moves forward with a retrial. And that's why covering Harmony's case right now is so important. That's why examining every detail at this time is so important.
Yeah.
Which we will obviously continue to do next week in part 3, but that's why.
Put them both behind bars. But no, I mean, this isn't what the story's about. But man, special person to go out there and try to defend Adam. And imagine if you're lucky enough as a defense attorney that it actually works, right? How do you, I'm just going to say, I don't care if it pisses people off. How do you sleep at night? What if it actually works where you defend this scumbag and he gets off and he's out there, right? Because Kayla's not going to prison now at this point, right? It's too late for that.
She got immunity. Yeah.
She's not going to prison. So at best, your client walks. Now, everyone deserves representation, all that stuff, whatever. We agree with that. But when it's this much evidence, how do you process that? How do you rationalize that? Where you say, hey, you know what? That's on the police department. They should have did better. Unbelievable. But let's keep it focused on what we're really here for.
But I mean, like, think about it, right? You're right. This goes to a trial.
And he beats it.
Retrial. And this is a different jury.
Yeah.
And the defense puts up enough of a reasonable doubt argument where Kayla could have been the one who killed Harmony while Adam was away from the car. I'm not sure how they're going to prove that Adam was away from the car because from what we can tell, it was the methadone clinic. Maybe they'll say that she killed Harmony while he was in the methadone clinic, right? Yeah. They might try to do that. But let's say that enough people on that jury is like, well, that's possible. And then he walks away with this. It's a very chilling, yet, I wouldn't have a hard time believing anything these days, honestly. Like
I said, I mean, different strokes for different folks. I don't know. I'm sure we'll have some defense attorneys in the comments that will have a rebuttal for what I just said. For me personally, I don't know. I don't know how you justify that one. But to keep it focused on what's important here, Harmony. I know we have another part for this one, probably 2 more or just 1 more. What are you thinking, Steph?
I'm not sure yet.
You're not sure yet. Okay. Now the focus for me is obviously going through the rest of the case, but the last point where Harmony was visually spotted, right? Because in a perfect world, even though it's been some time now, and even though her body's not going to be in the best condition, I would love for her to be found and to bring her home and give her a proper burial and reunite her with the people that did care about her. There's not a lot, but there were some people who cared about her, and she deserves that. I forget the fact that it's going to solidify what happened in that house or in that car. It's more about bringing her home. The problem I see here, without knowing where you're going to go with this story, is that he put her back up in the vent with the garbage bags inside this canvas bag. And I'm sure Shannon will throw a photo up this canvas bag up. A lot of you have probably had a bag similar to this. I first thought of the Crime Weekly bag that we gave away at CrimeCon. It's the exact bag, like a canvas bag. It's not even a duffel bag.
Just like a promotional bag,
right.
Yeah.
And
well, there was a duffel bag and then there was the canvas bag.
My concern is that at some point, because she's so small, that you could easily put her into a trash can or a dumpster somewhere along the way. And I've talked to you guys about trash pulls before for search warrants. When there's no body in there, but there's just old food, to me, it gives a very similar smell. There's going to be maggots. There's going to be a stench that makes you want to throw up in your mouth. And it's hard for me to differentiate between a dead body and that. There is a distinct smell. I get what they're saying. I've unfortunately smelt it many of times, but if it's been sitting out in the sun for long enough, it would be hard for a garbage man to smell the difference where he goes, "Whoa, this bag doesn't smell great."
Oh yeah, and I don't think garbage men are really doing.
No, they're not, and they're smelling.
Analysis of what they're smelling because they smell such bad
all
things
day
all
long.
the time.
And so if that happened and she ended up in a landfill, it's the visual definition of a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when she was there.
Unless Adam comes forward and confesses, which...
And even if he did, even if he confessed and said, I threw her in dumpster A on this date, there may be a general vicinity within the landfill that she would have been, but that was years ago. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be a hard one. I hope that's not the case. I hope that for Harmony's sake, she was buried somewhere. And if that's the case, that means we could still bring her home.
Yeah, I don't think that's looking like a possibility, though.
It's not looking promising, but until you tell me otherwise, I'm going to hold on to that hope. But this was, as far as the details, this is one of the worst episodes we've ever done because we usually don't have this much insight into the specifics of how this child was killed. We have a lot of cases where we don't even know if they're still alive or dead. This one seems pretty clear, especially with the forensic evidence backing it up, that Harmony is no longer with us, and not only that, she died a horrific death. And so there's nothing positive to take away from this episode.
No. But I mean, once again, he's going to be coming up for a retrial. And I'm not saying I'm trying to like influence anyone.
No. He's going to go to prison. He's going to go to prison. I don't think there's any person in on this planet who's we're going to manifest that. And like I said, and I stand behind it, he will be in prison. And it may not be the first year or the third year or the fifth year, but there's a lot of parents in prison who are doing life, and they don't take kindly to child killers.
Yeah, hopefully.
Code. It just happened. There was just one recently. Did you see that video recently where there's 3 guys that are in prison for life? If you Google it, it's going to pop right up. It just happened. And they basically follow a child killer into a cell. And the 3 of them, they admitted to it. We murdered them. We don't care.
Yeah, well,
they came out of the cell and smiled about it. But yeah, I hope everyone's okay after listening. That's a tough episode, even for people who cover this all the time. That's a really difficult episode to get through. And the reason we cover it is because we know Adam's going to be coming up for trial again. And let's make sure they do it right, and that we show a public show of force where we want justice for Harmony, and Adam needs to be behind bars.
He needs to be where he belongs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any final words from you, Stephanie? There's really not much to say.
No, I think we've said enough. Let's give everyone a break and let them sit with this for a little while, and we will see you guys next week.
Absolutely. Hug your kids tonight. Give them a kiss. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Everyone stay safe out there. We'll see you next week.